I am here to serve your will. Greetings, my shopkeeper. Hello there, Camellia. What's up, Julian? Hey, Pixie! Julian! How are ya? I'm good. Did you see Dark, by the way? Camellia, are you? Dark? Yeah. No, you didn't see? Oh, hello, Vex. Oh, what's up, Dark? I was just about to call you. Yes, sir. Oh, what's up, Creeper? Why? Because I need him. He asked me to do a reaction on a certain video. Remember, Dark? Hop on Discord. I am waiting for you. Hey, Pixie. What, Julian? Reaction time? Indeed. I need to tell you something. What do you need to tell me, Julian? Let's do it here. Oh, what's up, Dark?
Hello, Apex.
Hello. Give me a second. I need to.
Yeah, can you stream as well, because it'll be easier for me to watch through your stream.
For you. Yeah, give me a second. Don't stop in. I found a way how to make WoW better for you. What? Julian, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Also, Apex, the video is on the general. You can go and watch it.
On the general? Wait.
Yeah.
What video?
In the Discord, it's in the general.
Wait. Oh. Wait. That's the voice chat.
No.
Yeah. I already pulled up the video. It's already on my screen. Give me a second. I need share screen. Wait. Do you hear the sound? Tell me.
No. I was just listening to the thing. All right, let's go.
Okay. Do you hear it?
Just pause the video and scroll down and see. I have a comment there.
What?
Below. I have a comment there. Below, you can scroll down and see. I have posted a comment.
What?
No. I have posted a comment on the video.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, pretty much this. Everyone had the same opinion about him.
Yeah. So like, yeah. Let's do it now.
Okay. You hear the audio, right?
Just launched, and I'm gonna be honest.
You hear it?
I do. Let's go.
Nice. I'm making it into a YouTube video, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah. After all, I do need to milk somehow content from both you and him. Alright. Let's do it. Do it
Okay.
tonight.
So Apex, before we start, all right? I'm gonna ask you a simple question. All right?
Which?
Okay. So you know WoWa and Duet Night Abyss, right? The two games.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give you a small task. All right? This is a hypothetical, by the way. All right? So
Okay.
you get to play WoWa. All right? So, but every hour you get to refresh everything, as in the resonance beacons, the treasure chests, everything refreshes. But the thing is, you can also teleport to those resonance beacons, all of them, all over the map. All right?
Wait.
And
I lost you for a second.
Alright.
Repeat.
So everything that grants asteroids on the entire map. All right?
Okay.
In WoWa, it gets refreshed every hour for 24 hours. All right?
Okay.
And the thing is, you get a trial team, as in a fully maxed out trial team. And I'm gonna ask you to pull Showkeeper and her weapon and max it out. All right?
Alright.
Okay, so you can obviously max it out, right? Max it out as in the Forte, the Resonance Chain, everything. All right? Completely, you had rank up the weapon, everything completely maxed out. All right?
Alright.
So just like that, I'm gonna give you. Okay, so I'm gonna give you Sybil in Duet Night Abyss.
Okay.
All right. So Duet Night Abyss, Sybil signature weapon, Sybil's signature pistol, and demoralizages all of it. But the thing is, you will get an unlimited amount of commission manuals to farm. All right.
Mhm. Yeah.
So tell me the answer. Who are you gonna farm faster?
Well, in theory, Sable, because in WoW you have the limitation that you have the cubes that took 8
No.
turns
So like I said, every hour it refreshes.
every hour, like all the cubes from 0 to 240.
Yeah, every hour it refreshes. Yeah.
It will stay. It still will be faster in Abyss because in WoW you can waste all those cubes in like what 20 minutes.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. So since we are down with that, let's go to the video. I just wanted to get that through.
Okay, let's watch it.
Duet Night Abyss has just launched, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't think it's all that impressive. The game boasts one of the first mobile games that was formerly a gacha but transitioned to a gacha-less model afterwards, with the incentives that it's a game that respects your time and no fear of missing out in its mechanics. It's
First of all, respects your time. No service game will respect your time. The service game live service game will want to make you waste all of your time into it. Like,
No, basically the thing is, FX, any live service game, it's either you spend time or you spend money, right?
yeah, and out of the two, what you would rather to do? Spend time or money? Spend time, obviously.
Definitely.
Because well, you can waste a night or two, but you won't be able to waste the money, especially if you're on tight budget.
And not only that, FX, like, eventually, like every week you get a certain period of, a long period of free time, right? Every week.
Yeah.
So you can waste that long period of free time on your game, right?
Yeah, of course.
Exactly. So yeah.
Let's continue.
It certainly sounds a bit too
Yeah.
good to be true, and let's be real here. It is. Hi, my name is Psyche, and I'll be breaking down each of DNA's features and let you know what I think if it's good or bad for the future of gacha games. However, despite all of what was promised, the thing I think DNA will struggle with the most is something more ingrained in its design, and not actually related to the monetization or farming mechanics. So today I have a lot to say about this potential future giant indie gacha gaming space. Let's get right down to it. First, there's something I would like to address. Duet Night Abyss is certainly taking gacha game graphics to the next level. Since it's developed on Unreal Engine, you can expect performance to be a bit hit or miss. This game is also teetering on what mobile phones can handle. I will not be commenting on the performance for the remainder of the
Wait. Snapdragon Gen 3 or above? This is flagship territories, what the hell?
No.
Gen
That's
1.
the thing is this. This is the initial performance, all right? They optimized it.
Let's look it up, like...
They optimized it. They made it more cohesive. I mean, they said they're gonna optimize it further at 1.1.
Okay, give me a second. Requirements. Android. Yeah, right now it's still the same. Like, it is right now.
I don't think it's the same. They posted a Twitter statement saying that they optimized it.
October 29th. Like, it's very fresh.
That's right. October 29th. So this is November 15th.
Oh, right. The day after release date. Yeah, I completely got out of my head, whatever.
review.
No, because they
but to
said
my
they
knowledge,
optimized it and they are gonna keep optimizing it further as well.
Good.
it suffers from occasional performance
So the
issues
thing
on
is
certain
that
PCs at
more
the
than anything, he's not talking about how clunky Wuthering Waves was at launch.
I'm gonna
All right,
believe that.
I played at launch. I played at launch. All right, it was shit. It was utter garbage. All right.
Alright.
I mean, you came into a game that is very good, but I came into a game that is utter garbage.
Oh god, I am afraid to imagine.
All right. So yeah, let's continue.
let's
the
continue.
moment, and I shudder to think what those playing on a phone will be like. Now, I don't do any of the technical side and do any benchmarking here, but I did run a quick test on my own phone to see what it's like. And a question you might ask is...
Yeah, of course, your own phone, as if I'm gonna believe that. Yeah.
What the hell are you running the game on to get it this smooth? Well, it can be none other than the Red Magic 11 Pro, which
I'm not giving you food, fuck you. Fuck. YouTube! God damn it, this automatic section system, so pissing me
Duet
off.
Night Abyss is developed by Pan Studio and published by Hero Games.
Pan? Seriously? Their name is a fucking Pan?
Pan means like Pan is a creature. It's a creature. It's a mythical creature from European mythology.
By the way, I don't know if anybody made the joke, but this N is written in such a way that it looks like an I and N. So, Pain Studio.
Yeah.
Which to my understanding are relatively small in scale, and this game must have taken a pretty big cut out of their budget. Anyways, after a lengthy campaign of over 2 years, the game is finally out. What was supposed to be a
Damn.
game that had the traditional approach of a stamina system and gacha banners has changed to something we've never seen before. I guess we'll start with an overview of the game. I read the story when I was playing during its first closed beta test, and I thought it was pretty good. The game features a dual narrative approach, so the two protagonists are not just versions or alter egos of each other, but rather completely different people with their backstories. It's also pretty refreshing to
Isn't the Geisha and Impact those the same?
It's kind of similar, but not similar at the same time as well.
Wait.
So, Apex,
Right.
I have another question. So, what do you think? What do you think of DNA's approach on killing characters?
Finally something new, like actually killing. And not just,
Yeah.
like, Frolova, I somehow can understand it, because she is kinda
No,
immortal.
but Forlova, even Forlova, the death was quite a big impact, right?
Yeah.
We wanted Rova to somehow find a way to revive her, right?
Yeah, but she's immortal by herself.
It just went up in smoke, right? Yeah, it just went up in smoke. Everything.
Yeah. Let's continue.
see a gacha protagonist
Yeah.
not have the typical amnesia trait, where they're a blank slate. It's definitely one of the better gacha
Hold up. Isn't the Fox Hunter in the game has amnesia? Or something like that? Like in the beginning.
Yeah. No, not in the beginning. As in, he had amnesia a long time ago, and he was taken care of by Bernica for some time. You know.
But is it before he was like thrown out of the Empire, or right like during?
No, basically, Bernica has been taking care of Fox Hunter for quite some time before the start of the story.
Wait. So you're telling me that this is current events? Like,
Yeah. And there is a small spoiler on Twitter going around these days. I don't know whether it's a spoiler. It's just suspicion,
Wait.
saying that
Wait,
these two are actually twins.
Wait. This is the future, basically?
No. It's not a future. It's the same. They say that in Twitter. They say that these two are actually twins.
Oh, twins. Sounds familiar.
Yeah. No, not like in Genshin, but like actual twins. Not like dimensionally separated twins. They're like actual twins.
Okay, let's continue.
game stories I've gone through, well, in terms of 3D gachas at least. I think some of the facial animations still look a little bit off for the NPC.
Yeah, I'm still in just chuckling out of this shit. Like what
I mean,
what
the
is that?
mouth movements.
Yeah. For the NPCs.
It looks like a fish, right? It looks like a fish eating stuff, right?
No. It's like I forgot the name of this. But Why does he look like a fucking bunny from this angle with this little bit of teeth that's coming off? They give into every NPC like 2 or 3 like face frames. That's it.
Yeah.
40 like mouths. Just. That's it. Like maybe five animation frames. That's it. No lip syncing. No nothing. Like give him at least some cheap lip syncing, like something typical,
just
like
you know, rounding the mouth and moving it, right?
yeah, just like the typical one that they use in cheap SFM animations. Well, not cheap, but simple.
Yeah. See, the thing is this: did you play GTA Vice City, the old one?
No, I never played the GTA.
So like in that I used to play Vice City earlier. Alright, in that they hold the gun in a certain way, right?
Wait, in Vice City they don't even have like face animation, right?
No, they don't. But the thing is, they hold the gun in a certain way.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, they're like holding the gun, and when they hold, they like
the
aiming
entire
it up
arm
and
is
down.
built in that way.
What?
Yeah. So the entire arm is completely graphically built in that way. It does not move from that position.
Ah, wait,
No
like
matter
the arm
what,
is fixed?
yeah, like it's like holding something, holding a pole or something. All right, it's like holding a
Wait.
gun always.
And there's not even a recoil from the gun?
No. I mean, even if the guy is pointing at someone, it's like holding a gun always. Imagine like a clasped arm always. When you're pointing at someone, you know, he points at someone, it's a clasped arm.
Okay.
PCs, but for the most part, the presentation is fine. They're probably pretty proud of that intro fight scene. I would like to also give a quick shout out to the music. The track variety is impeccable and are all beautifully composed. Sometimes takes a page straight out of Nier Automata, which happens to feature my favorite video game soundtrack of all time. As for the gameplay, you can only on-field one character at a time, but I suppose the game was trying to go for a more co-op approach in the late game, with different roles like support, DPS, and healers. You can equip one melee and ranged weapon, all with their different variations. Worth mentioning that every character can use every weapon, though the element the weapon attacks are infused with will still match the character's element. When you use left click, you swing the weapon, and holding right click fires the gun. There's all sorts of moves and combos you can do, like attacks right after a slide, when slamming down, when holding, or pressing attack repeatedly. You have a dodge move to evade enemy attacks, a slide to initiate a helix leap, though I struggle to see why you would ever use the slide by itself. You have a shield meter above your health, and an energy gauge to use your skill or ult attack. I found most of the content in the game to be pretty easy. As long as you level everyone to an acceptable range, you can just spam left click to get through it. There's some miscellaneous activities you can do in the overworld, like fishing, shooting minigames, and catching Genimon. I didn't really get too deep into it, but some of the Genimon can have some unique effects, like picking up enemy drops at a longer range. When you're not doing co-op, you can set 2 other AI companions to fight alongside you, but co-op content will take one of those AI slots away for every extra player. I should also mention that DNA is not marketed as an open world game, but rather an RPG with open world elements. You can't really do a lot of crazy things out in the wild, though sometimes you'll come across hidden chests and minigames. Just don't count on exploration being a big part of your experience here. There's also the impression system, where you have a list of 6 personality traits, and choosing certain dialogue will increase one. When you perform a check, you roll a dice. The higher that stat, the higher the chance to succeed. I don't really think this matters all that much, and you can also just create the dice currency in the forging menu, so you can just keep trying again. But anyways, enough about the gameplay, let's talk about the main attraction. So, one of Do at Night Abyss's main attractions is the promise of a no stamina system, respecting the player's time, they said. You can farm whenever you want. Is all of that actually true? Let's see. Heading into the combat tab, you'll access many different commission types to complete for loot drops. All sorts of goodies can be farmed here, such as XP for your characters or weapons, demon wedges as the relic system for set bonuses, ascension material, and wins to farm for new characters and weapons. You can do these alone or in co-op, and some will take longer than others. In theory, if you wanted to,
what was
you can do these alone or in co-op, and some will take longer than others.
For the love of God, only do it in co-op. Determination? This is what we were doing last time, right?
No, just keep watching. Like I have a small comment about what comes next. So just keep
Yeah,
watching,
I
right?
think I know what you're talking about.
Others. In theory, if you wanted to max out a character, you can just grind for hours and you'll be able to achieve just that. So, the lack of stamina is a good thing, right? Well, in my opinion, not really. When you do a
Excuse
normal
me.
commission, you can use a booster to increase
Okay,
the drop
so
rate
the
of
thing is
rewards.
this. So he says lack of stamina is not a good thing, right?
Which
So
is
so
stupid.
Apex, yeah. So Apex, that comes to my initial question before the stream. All right, before the
Yeah.
reaction. So imagine under those specific circumstances, you'll be able to farm Showkeeper, right?
Right?
But the thing is, the game does not function under those specific circumstances, right?
Right, nothing is free.
So, but the thing is, Do It Night Abyss does, right?
Right, it's all unlimited.
Yeah, it's all unlimited. I mean, even if you don't have commission manuals, you can go at the standard drop rate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So commission manuals just increases the drop rate. That's all, right?
Yeah.
So basically, you can go at the normal pace, but with commission manuals, you can go to accelerated pace, right?
Right.
So what's the whole point, right? This whole point is useless. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. In your initial question, you meant if the speed will be the same without the commission manuals, right?
No, with the commission manuals.
With?
Because the thing is, we are gonna give WUWA an unfair advantage. So the commission manuals will be the unfair advantage for DNA. All right.
Okay.
So basically, you'll get done in 1/8 of the time of WUWA, right?
Yeah, let's assume I do one mission in DNA, one mission in WUWA. Like in DNA, I will get at least 10 times more
say that you can
resources.
do both at the same time. Yeah, just hypothetically say that you can do both at the same time.
Theoretically, yeah, I will get
So
10
so
times
like
more
basically,
rewards.
if you can copy yourself into two and you can do both at the same time, I'm pretty sure that you'll finish DNA faster, right?
Commission, it's like a tactical simulator in WoW, so. Well,
And not
kinda.
only that, it's like most people don't know about this, but during character commissions and weapon commissions, there is a pity system. All right. So
What?
when you don't get drops continuously, so what happened was when I was for Veronica, I got 11 commissions without drops. All right, and the next 3, I got 3 10x drops.
Nice.
So that's like there's a sort of pity system in the commissions, but people don't know about this. That's the thing.
Interesting. Let's continue.
For that run, with some of the better boosters netting you up to 20 times the rewards. The problem is that you have to buy these with premium currency.
And
Okay,
only
do
then
you
you
buy
will
them?
mention this little
Do
shit.
you buy them? Yeah. So do you buy
So-
them? Do you buy them at premium? Yeah.
That's the thing. You can also fetch them, but at an incredibly steep rate. Like, dude, this is some legendary shit.
No. So you can also forge them. That's not the whole point, Apex. Like, do you buy them ever?
No.
Like, you get 30 every day, right? Just for logging in.
The normal ones?
Yeah, the normal ones. And you can just, just log in for 10 minutes every day, get the 30, log out back again, right? And when you have free time, you just combine all of them together and play, right?
Huh, interesting. But yeah, but the problem that I have with that is that he first saying, yeah, you need to buy them, but and only then he adds in the editing that, yeah, you can also forge them, but for some reason I forgot
And
to say it.
also Apex, like all these editing, it was done later. All the initial video, they did not have this.
Wait, you kidding me? Like, on day one,
Yeah,
he
it did
didn't
not.
have this
It did
mention?
not.
Come on! He was misleading on purpose. You got to be kidding me.
See, that is why I
What-
wanted to come into Discord and do the reaction with you, you know? I want to tell you all this.
God damn it.
I like watch this video when it was like 7 hours old.
Yeah. He was lying by omission. Let's continue.
No,
can
not
make
just
the-
lying by omission. He was playing lying, you know? No omission there.
Okay.
The
Plain
problem
lying.
is that you have to buy these with premium currency. While you can make the argument that this is still better than having a stamina system since you can just farm whenever you want, you also have to come to terms that someone that's willing to pay a little extra will progress faster than
Here's the editor taking advantage of this. Of what? What are you taking advantage of? Tell me. Dark, do you have an idea?
I do not understand, you know.
Yeah, I have a joke for later about this video. I will keep it for later. When we get into it, of course.
even though you both put in the
And
same amount
notice
of
the
effort.
effects, like he's showing us clips of Randy. Alright.
Okay.
So just because you didn't know, I'm gonna share a bit of information with you. So there's a friend of mine. He just started playing in EU. All right, he's a Randy man. All right,
Okay.
he found Randy, all of it, and so with Randy, you can just sit on the chair and use that skill, and you can snipe everybody in the entire map. All right.
So you take a fucking buffed character and just sitting doing nothing.
Yeah. So basically, like you can just sit on the chair and finish the entire commission. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, he talks that the game is boring and all that bullshit while playing Randy, right?
So he's making the game more boring that it was supposed to be, like for himself.
I don't know.
Like on a busted character like that, sitting like that, you want to
I mean,
shit.
I mean, the thing is this.
You are making the game boring for yourself, man.
Yeah,
What
the
are we
thing is
talking
this,
about?
Apex. Yeah, the thing is this, Apex. Like, you know, I recently built Bernica into Intron 6, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is, Intron 6 Bernica is pretty busted, all right? But the thing is, he's very interesting to play as well. You know, he's not boring.
Yeah.
You know, you go in, you put the skills, you hack and slash. That's how you play, right?
Yeah.
He's not boring.
You do not sit on your ass for 5 hours.
Exactly.
And after that getting cramps. Tell me how I know that.
Anyway, let's continue.
What?
Let's continue. Yeah.
Let's continue, yeah.
Whether this bothers you is purely subjective. No stamina system also means that you don't get player XP from just completing commissions. You can check what activities give player XP, but since the better commissions drop mats at a higher rate, you want to raise that level quick. Also, one extra kudos I gotta give is that the game lets you equip the same Demon Wedge on multiple characters or weapons. So, since you're gonna need like 20 of these per character, that's at least one less thing to worry about. I'm gonna talk about my thoughts on the character and weapon system now. You have to get the secret letter currency, then buy the secret letter of the character or weapon, then run the covert commission for the chance for their shard to drop. I'm not gonna explain all of it in detail again since I did it in the sponsor video. Anyways, 30 of it equals 1 copy of them. In short, I think the system is good, but not as good as you think. First, I'd like to point out that you can skip the grind with the premium currency. This will cost you around $50 with some leftover, assuming you have the first top-up bonus. Do I have a problem that you can skip the grind with real money? No, not really. If you consider that if you were to try using top-up packs to guarantee a 5-star in the conventional gacha game, you're likely gonna have to spend upwards of a couple $100s. So $50 in that context, not so much anymore. However, you also have to keep in mind that each character has 6 dupe levels, and they all requires 30 shards.
But what is the point to spend the money if you can just play this shit, if you can grind it out?
See, the thing is, Apex, he does not realize this, all right? My Bernica is Intron 6.
Yeah,
alright?
like the
My
entire
Rebecca is
point...
Intron 3. All right, my Rebecca is Intron 3. And who else? I think there was one other person. I think Nifel was Intron 2, all right? So imagine me farming all that.
Yeah, like...
I've
What-
not spent a single cent on the game.
Exactly. the point of the game is that you do not have to spend money. What you have to do is grind. You have to play the game. Have you heard about it? Have you heard about playing the goddamn game? For God's sake.
I do not understand Apex.
Like I do not understand
so
either. Like,
uncomfortable to watch.
like, as a person who played hundreds of hours on fucking Xenoblade.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing is, like, we play MMOs, right?
You play
stuff like
MMOs. I play JRPGs.
Yeah. So, like, the thing is, stuff like Halo and all that we play, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is, you need some practice, right?
Of
You
course.
you remember how many times we died at certain checkpoints, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and that was mostly
The two
because
of us,
I
we
was
would go like,
fucking
and
noob.
No, it's not. It's not. No, like we were enjoying playing the game, right? But the thing is, we died 2-3 times at the same place, and
Yeah.
then we go back again, and then we clear the clear place, all right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing. That's the whole thrill of gaming, right?
Yeah, like grind in the practice, get good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
each. Because the shards are earnable in-game, this gives the devs and dedicated players room to make the dupe levels drastic increases to the character's strength, and defend that you can just grind it for free, so there's no problem.
You can just grind it, no problems here. But apparently that's a problem for you.
Apex, yeah. So Apex, the thing is this. I'm gonna present a business model regarding the dupe levels. All right? So imagine you have 6 dupe levels. All right? Most games have 6 dupe levels, right? So you
6
have
stars,
6
kinda.
dupe levels in DNA. Yeah. So six dupe levels in DNA as well. All right? So imagine in DNA you can farm all the 6 dupe levels, right?
Yeah.
So what would be more profitable? A game that lets you farm 6 dupe levels, or the game that lets you buy 6 dupe levels?
Farm. Oh wait, wait.
So
Yeah, farm, because like if you
no,
pay
what would be more
40
profitable for the company? For the company, not for you. All right? It's the game that lets you buy 6 dupe levels, right?
Mhm.
So
For the
basically,
company, yeah.
the thing is, so the thing is, he's saying you need just play it. I'll tell you that. Okay, play the rest of it. I'll tell you that.
Problems here. That may be true, except you have to factor in the amount of time you have to spend to do it, and will everyone have that much time on their hands? This is of course not including all the other ways you can upgrade the character, and acquiring weapons also has a similar grinding system. I should also mention that the rate in which you get the secret letter clues is limited. While you still can farm these at a slower rate by manually farming, it's just another process you have to go through to get what you want. The lack of a stamina system is honestly a double-edged sword, if you ask me. In a normal gacha game, you press one button to spend your stamina to farm for all you can, then you're done for the day and you can spend your time doing other things. You do this every day.
Yeah, but how many games do have
Okay,
that?
so
Oh,
by
wait.
other things, he means other gacha games.
Yeah, that are not like in the big 3 or in the big 5. Like this game is not
No, but
even
it's-
in the
but-
top 10, I think. Or is what is that? Is that
No, but
Arknights?
Yeah, I think it's Arknights.
What you
Anyway,
wanted to say?
that's not the point, Apex. Like, so what's so bad about grinding? This is what I'm gonna ask. Is there anything bad about grinding? No, right?
Not really, because grind, you gotta respect the grind. Like, you know the meme.
And not only that, because not everybody has every day free, right?
Yeah.
So when you have a free day, like you can grind as much as you want. That's like a luxury you get, right?
Yeah.
So basically, when you have a free day, an entire free day, if you have the ability to grind the entire day, it's like gonna be very effective for you, right? Because you're not gonna have a lot of free days after that.
Exactly.
So unlike in MOBA, this is much better, right?
Yeah, and also, if the game lets you just grind this shit out, the player data in the end, like the player data will have more value than the money the player will spend in the end.
Exactly, and the play styles, the difference in builds, and all that, right?
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
like what has more value? a little spike in spending money, or a constant like flow of money through player data.
Exactly.
So in that case, grinding has way more value.
Exactly.
Hey, whenever you can. It's quick sessions of stimulus that expose you to just enough to form a habit and slow down your progression. From a player retention perspective, it works great and probably why the vast majority of mobile games have them. It will continue to have them in the foreseeable future. On the other hand, when you do the exact same thing over and over again for 3 hours, you're going to experience burnout, even if you can fully complete the 6 dupe levels in like
Complete burnout, that depends on the person, to be honest.
Yeah,
Because
just
wait. I have the record of playing games for 10 hours, okay, in a row. So
yeah, same, very same. When I have free time, I play for more than 12 hours sometimes.
yeah, and like my favorite game of all time, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, that I'm playing through the emulator. Sudachi or Yuzu, whatever you have on board. If you combine all the game hours that I played in Xenoblade 2, like all the new games, new game pluses, like all the times I had to complete the game from zero, because I had to reinstall Yuzu or the Windows, I completed the game at least 5 times, counting the new game plus.
Yeah.
Do you know how many hours
I
I have there? At least 700. I should have at least 700 in there.
Do you, Apex? Do you know how many hours in Dota I have?
In Dota, oh god, I do not wish to know.
9,000. 9,000. Imagine. That is just Dota, alright? I have other games as well. 9K hours on Dota itself, right?
Do you wish to be young again?
I wish a lot, you know.
And not make this mistake.
Exactly. Yeah, I do a lot. I constantly contemplate about it as well.
Like, why the fuck have I spent my entire childhood into toxicity and hell?
Yeah.
Oh god, okay, let's continue. But yeah, like, somebody will experience, but this is not us. This is not the PC gamer that will experience burnout. Let's continue.
Yeah.
2 hours, that's still gonna be a lot of time for some people. Plus, given that dupes are drastic power increases, it can often feel that if you don't complete the farming for the dupes, the character feels incomplete. I imagine
Okay.
what
So
will
Apex,
inevitably...
this is what I was going to talk about. All right. So he was talking about dupes, right? So I was saying, like, what is more profitable, you know, right? Selling the dupe is more profitable than farming the dupe, right?
Wait.
So selling the dupe is more profitable than farming the dupe, right? For allowing the player to farm the dupe rather than, right? So it's easier to sell the dupe, right? Like as in monetize the dupe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, what do you think would give more stats? What kind of dupe, the marketable dupe or the farmable dupe, would give more stats to the player?
Wait, one more time.
So what kind of dupe would give more stats to the player, like the marketable one or the farmable one?
The farmable, because it will show that.
No,
he
it
played
is
the
not.
game.
It is not. It is not. You know why?
Why?
The farmable one can be easily obtained. The marketable one cannot be easily obtained. So they will give more stats to the marketable one so that the marketable one has more appeal to it. Do you get it?
Mm.
The farmable one will have less appeal to it. So in that sense, he's wrong again. All right.
Wait. One more time. What he meant? He meant that.
So he meant that the dupes will be a drastic increase in power, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we are comparing farmable dupes and purchasable dupes. All right.
Okay.
So the farmable dupe will be a less increase in power compared to the purchasable dupe. All right.
You mean like in time spent?
Yeah. No, not in time spent. You know, the stats, the crit rate, the skill duration, all of that, right?
Yeah, but the farmable dupe, it can get to the same height as the marketable. Like,
Yeah, it can. It can.
It just
but
takes more time, a little bit more time, but you can get there. That's the point, right?
Yeah. No. So no, that's not the point, Apex. Like a single dupe has more stats when it's marketable. Because you know why? The marketable dupe, the marketing standpoint are the stats. You know, this has this much, so you should buy this. That's what they're gonna do, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Unlike the farmable one, so the farmable one you can just farm it, and you know, okay, this gives this much stats, and we're like, okay, we can farm this. No worries, I'm just gonna farm this in one day. There is no appeal to it, right? Nobody's gonna buy it.
Yeah.
So when it's that exclusive, people are gonna go after it, right?
Right.
That's what. So he's wrong again in that sense.
Okay, let's continue because I lost it.
Inevitably happen is that people will optimize the hell out of this game. Fastest farming routes, fastest teams to do mission types, fastest commission types to run. I tried to unlock a few characters and I was able to unlock a copy of Sybil in like 30 minutes. Now, since the covert commissions refresh every hour, this means you can wait until you see a mission type that's way shorter to complete. I think the best one out right now is the Dismantle mission type. You can basically zoom across the map and delete the 3 beacon points in less than a minute. I found this to be extremely efficient in...
You said something?
I told you. Zoom across the map and, you know.
Yeah.
farming the shard, and even though part of it does come down to luck, this is what I would do if I wanted to unlock a character fast. I couldn't care less about playing these levels. These are just the means to get what I want, and I want to get past this chore as fast as I can. Circling back to the topic of player retention, for anything that requires a concentrated amount of brain usage, you're gonna get exhausted both mentally and physically. Even though you know that the game is fun, you are also likely to mentally associate your exhaustion as a consequence of playing the game. If you take a look at numerous surveys, the average gaming session for a mobile user is around 5 minutes. Now you might argue, well,
So
DNA
is this a mobile game?
Like...
Is this a mobile game?
What?
Is this a mobile game? Is DNA a mobile game? I'm asking you. Is DNA a mobile game?
Is DNA a mobile game? Oh, your accent again. Strikes back.
Sorry.
Yeah, strikes me out. But is DNA a mobile game? Like...
No. Right?
Yes and no, to be honest. Because can you play it on the phone? Yes, but do you want
You
to
can
play
play
it on the phone?
It's a PC game that is playable on the phone.
Yeah, it's
playable.
playable, but first you need some pretty beefy phone right now. That's one.
Not just that, right?
But,
it's a PC game that is playable on the phone, right? It's not an exclusively mobile game, right?
Yeah, like...
It's not marketed as a mobile game. It's marketed as a PC game, right?
Yeah, because... have you ever seen a fucking mobile phone in the game's promotion?
No.
Neither did I. Neither did I see a mobile promotion in WoW either, so...
Yeah. So the thing is mobile...
Yeah,
the mobile
it's even Genshin, so yeah.
Yeah, so the mobile game is for ease of access, right?
Yeah, like...
So you can play it on the go, unlike
Yeah.
the PC, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can play it on the mobile, but why would you want to play on the mobile when you have the PC? You can... you have options to play it on a different, like, control system. The keyboard will always be more comfortable than the fucking touchscreen.
No, and also Apex, like I used to play WoW when I went on the transit earlier, all right?
Okay.
When I used to go to and from work, I used to play WoW on the transit. That's on the phone, all right?
Yeah.
I used to come back home and I used to play on the PC.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. When I couldn't play on the PC, only I played on the mobile.
Yeah, and we play games like DNA in our free time. Where are we in our free time? We're at home with our PC or console.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's mostly a PC game with the option of a phone to it. Like...
Yeah.
Yeah. And the service that he's pulling out... this is the funniest shit ever. Because you are trying to prove me that it's a mobile game by... showing me numbers. Why do I care about numbers of other people if I'm playing like the game itself.
It's not a mobile game. Okay, well, did you know that the platform distribution for players in Genshin Impact, which many would agree to be the benchmark of the gacha industry, about 65% of players are on mobile. A large
So what? So what if the like
the thing is, Apex, he is just, he's ignoring the fact that there are tons of PC players who also play in mobile.
yeah, like the last time somebody checked, there's at least a billion with a fucking B PC players on the planet.
And not only that, there are players like me who play on both.
Yeah, like I have a Steam Deck
So
behind
basically,
me.
the mobile numbers are gonna be higher
Yeah,
because of that, right?
yeah. So you can split it by 2 at least.
Yeah.
Let's continue.
large portion of the player base for these games are on their phones. You can see how we might be running into a problem here. Mobile games are designed for quick bursts of playtime during your breaks or lunch. It was never meant to be played for prolonged periods. Absence makes the heart grow fonder, if you will. Whether or not DNA system
But what kind of absence? Absence of something that you like, or absence of something that you are have neutral feelings about?
No, so and also Apex, like I want to highlight here because you and I we both play games, right? So
Yeah.
do we ever experience burnout? Do you ever experience
Like
burnout?
once in a while, yeah, that happens.
Yeah, once in a while. I mean, when you have a 10-hour, 12-hour long marathon, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Otherwise, we don't, right?
Yeah,
Dude,
and
on opening day, I actually played DNA for 7 hours straight.
damn.
All right, so that's how I got that far. All right, so, so what I'm saying is, Apex, like having burnout, getting fed up of the game is your fault. It's not the game's fault, right? If you don't have self-control, if you don't
Yes.
know how to control your gaming, it's your fault, right?
Yeah, like technically, yeah, like first of all, yeah, you should not play the games for that long of a time in like one session. Like, manage your time. It's your fault, not the games.
Yeah.
So, let's continue.
system will
Okay.
backfire is anyone's guess. Now you may be wondering, alright genius, if you think both having stamina or not having it are bad ideas, then what do you suggest? Oh, I got a suggestion alright, but it's never going to be implemented. I propose that you just need to get rid of all the methods to upgrade a character. You don't need to farm materials to level or ascend them. You don't need to level or ascend weapons. Get rid of the Demon Wedge system. Get rid of leveling skills. When you get a character, you can passively level them from running stages, but that's it. When you get a weapon, you already have it at the strongest point it can be. Your skills can be passively leveled or unlocked as a flat version that doesn't change. No
My man, you are deleting
Okay, so-
at least 80% of all the gameplay. You will not have the missions, you will not have the bosses, you will not have nothing. Like, what?
Yeah,
one
so,
time
Apex.
of an Ascension quest. That's it? Seriously?
Okay, so Apex, discard DNA for a second. Take Elden Ring, all right?
Yeah.
Elden Ring is a game that allows you this kind of leveling, right? Just
Alright.
flat out killing people and getting levels, all right?
Mm-hmm.
So he says remove the demon wedges, remove everything, right? So
Yeah.
just put the leveling into Elden Ring and remove everything else. What will happen?
I honestly don't know because I never played Elden Ring really.
Yeah, so like in Elden Ring, also you have different builds. You can integrate different spells, enchantments, all of that.
Yeah.
So basically, demon wedges.
Okay.
Basically, it's just demon wedges in a different name.
Mm-hmm.
The Elden Ring system is a bit different, but very similar as well.
Okay.
So basically, what he's saying is, stop customizing your gameplay.
Seriously? You
Yeah.
want to remove the thing that's bring you the fun in the game? Like the opportunity
That's
to
what
have
he's saying.
fun?
Stop customizing your gameplay. That's what he's saying.
Wow. You know,
Anyway.
it's like removing all. It's like in a dress-up game. You are just removing all the dresses.
And going with the default, right?
Yeah, like you're on the default, but you can get a new dress when you level up like every 5 levels. That will be once in a while.
No. The thing is, like, you know, the dress up game, it's about always washing the same dress and wearing it again and again.
Yeah.
Oh, RNG gear system as well. You can switch between different skill sets, but you don't need to grind for this. I think the only way you can solve the stamina issue is to just remove what you are using it for. Obviously, for mobile games that incentivize daily logins, this absolutely cannot happen. So my suggestion will just forever be that. I would also like to comment on the gacha list system as well. Despite not having a stamina system, you'll still be barred by the rate you can acquire them. This system is great if you have a lot of time to game and find the grind to be addicting. I'm sure there will be a crowd for it. I overall think this system is fine, just not that much of an improvement over a traditional gacha system. If you don't want to spend hours of your time on this though, the only alternative will be to pay up. But hey, a valid argument is that you won't have to risk random chances to save up for months just to not get what you want. If you put in the effort, you will get the character. However, there are people that think otherwise. This is gonna sound insane, but gambling is really fun.
Gambling in a game? Are you stupid? You're gambling for nothing. I'm sorry, but you're gambling for a fucking JPEG. You're gambling for a fucking JPEG. You are losing all the time. So you want
And all the
you
money
wanna
as well, you know?
You wanna tell me, yay, I want to waste my money for a fucking JPEG that I can find later on a fucking 4chan. God damn.
I mean, the thing is, you know, so like, there was this, you know, not so safe comic site, the Japanese comics, all right?
Okay.
It literally had comics of Chang-Li, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it is a pirated site, would you imagine?
Of course.
So basically, you don't even have to own Chang-Li, you know?
Yeah. Imagine it like, I don't know. You find a fucking hentai game that is that you have to pay money for. You will just go to a certain access site and watch the walkthrough of this game, the playthrough, for free.
And not only that, you can just go to a third-party site and download it for free as well.
Yeah, go to torrent. For God's sake. Like, gambling. If we are talking about traditional gambling in like Las Vegas, for example, okay, kinda, but at least you have the chance to win money, even though it's like 0.5%. But whatever. But in a video game, wasting real money on a video game? I'm sorry, sir, but you are retarded. Let's continue.
There are people out there that play gacha games precisely because of the thrill. Think about how good it felt to land that 5-star in a single pull, while the rest of the plebeians had to go to pity for the same thing. Now that certainly was a highlight. I'm one to think
My god.
that the no gacha option is still better than having one, though I feel as if though DNA's approach may not be what some mobile gamers are looking for. So here's what I propose to be the true solution to the no gacha problem. You still have daily missions and events that give out the gacha tokens at a controlled rate. However, when you go into the gacha screen, instead of seeing the 1 or 10 pull option, you just see a single button. 10,000 gems to get this character. No gambling here. If you click the button, you will get it. There's no ambiguity or 50-50 rate up chances. We retain the casual nature of gacha games while getting rid of the gambling aspect. If there's a gacha game willing to go this route, that'd be something I praise all day. Overall, I think DNA systems are fine. I think it does.
It makes, if there's a gacha game willing to go this route, I'll play it someday.
Okay, but like, from what I've
He's
seen,
literally making a video about that game, you know?
yeah, but from what I've seen, This guy used to criticize the gacha system like on a regular basis, right?
Yeah, I know.
And all the
Like
comments.
he's literally giving the solution. You know, he's saying that this game has a problem, and he's literally giving the solution that the game has given.
Yeah. Gacha. Like, let's go to the comment for a second. Gacha has changed my guy's brain chemistry in the worst ways possible, lmao. This guy, he has the Stockholm syndrome of the gacha games. Like, he was tortured by the gacha games so much that he started to like the gacha system. It's that bad.
Yeah, and not only that, it's like, you know, can you actually see like the solutions he's proposing? All of them are in DNA, right?
Alright, so what do you mean is that the idea of
the gachaless system, it's in
Yeah.
DNA, all right?
yes.
So the no RNG system, the no RNG system, it's in DNA.
So you mean the banners, like that you can get a character for that amount of asteroids, it's always guaranteed.
Yeah, so
Right?
it is in DNA, right? You get 30 thoughts and you get it, right? 30 thoughts and you get the character. 30 thoughts and you get the first intron. 30 thoughts and you get the second intron. That's exactly DNA, right?
I get it now. Oh my god, this guy. Ooh, oh lord.
You
Things
still did
differently
the
enough
same?
that people
I'm just asking.
I get it.
Are we doing the same?
He's telling, okay, gacha games has a problem. Here's an idea for a solution. DNA, here's the fucking solution. No. I mean that in a different way.
Yeah, and also, it's like he was talking about gems, right?
Yeah.
So the premium currency, Foxy Plume in DNA, all right?
Okay.
You can literally spend a fixed amount of Foxy Plume and buy the character. Right?
Wow.
So literally what he's exactly saying is happening in DNA.
Goodness gracious.
Imagine.
Yeah.
That is why this video is getting a lot of hate, you know?
Because he. I have no idea how to call it even, to be honest. It's just stupid.
will be giving it a fair shot. It's just not what I believe to be objective improvements over what gacha games have had in the past. Of course, that doesn't exactly mean gacha is taken out of the game for good. DNA is using a cosmetics-focused monetization approach. While there are many deals in the game accessories and full outfits, the upper echelon of the cosmetics goes to these gacha skins. I suspected something like this would happen, since the game still has to make some money somehow. This means they're gonna be a bit more stingy with the skins. As you can see, the rates are really not in your favor here, a 0.3% chance to land a premium cosmetic, and it's split into different rewards.
Tak, remind me, but isn't like the drop rate for a character in WoW a 5-star is like 0.25?
No, it is like 2 or 3%. But the thing is, Apex, for WoW, the difference between WoW and DNA is like WoW, getting the weapon, it affects the gameplay, right?
Yeah,
But in DNA, it's just a cosmetic, you know, it doesn't affect the gameplay.
exactly. So why do you care about the skins if like?
And also, you saw my Rebecca, right? I got the
Yeah.
weapon, I got the character skin, I got both. I didn't spend a single cent.
Yeah, so who cares?
And he's forgetting to mention that, you know, every time you ascend a character to level 2, you get one pull. He never says that.
You get one what?
You get one pull every time you ascend a character to level 2. Every time you ascend a character to level 2, you get one pull, one gacha pull, stand pull.
Pull.
Alright.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So that's what he never mentions it.
Okay.
Like you don't get to pull on Psyche's character, but you can pull on the other banner.
Okay, let's continue.
Yeah.
Now, when a gacha gets transferred to a skin gacha, then the value of it becomes a lot more subjective. After all, how much would you be willing to pay for this? Some people absolutely don't care about skins. Some people play games because of them. Since the characters are farmable, this gives room for the developers to be as stingy as they want with the skins, and you really can't argue against it. If they wanted to make some $60 skins, some $200 skins, you know what I'm saying? Then they're kind of free to do so. You can bet that you won't be getting a lot of free pulls here. I would also like to point out that DNA is definitely not the first to have a skin gacha. There are numerous examples of older gachas that have had this approach. It just happens to be the first that's also a high budget release. Me personally, I don't have a problem with this, but that's mainly because I don't really care about cosmetics most of the time. There will be people that really want these skins, so the skin gacha really isn't something I can make a good objective judgment on. People often argue about what is considered as pay to win. How since it's just cosmetics, there's absolutely no paying involved. However, if your win condition is to have the coolest looking skins, well in that case, DNA will be pay to win. For you, specifically.
Okay, Apex.
Pay
Yeah, so
in
Apex
video
the
game
thing-
is always pay to lose in life.
Okay, so Apex, the thing is this. So, do you think League of Legends is a very popular and successful game?
Yeah, sadly.
So, do you know in League of Legends there is a champion called Ari? All right.
Yeah,
might
I
have heard
know
of it.
that fucking story.
So the Ari skin is $500. Imagine. $500. All right.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, that fucking skin is illegal to play, right?
Yeah, not illegal. When people see that you have that Ari skin, they just ban Ari. You know.
Yeah.
They get tilted. They get tilted. You know. They either pick Ari or they ban Ari. They get tilted when they you know. You see that Ari skin. All right.
Oh,
And in Apex, imagine this is just the best skin. All right. You can upgrade the skin further, after 500. All right. And the upgrades cost more.
Wait. That skin from League is upgradable?
Yeah, it's the base skin is $500, and the upgrades cost even more. Imagine, all right? And he's talking about losing in cosmetics.
Wait. Imagine having a skin, a fucking JPEG that is more expensive than your fucking phone.
Yeah, I know. 500. It's not a joke, right?
This.
And the thing is, when you upgrade it to the maximum, it comes close to $1,000.
$1,000 for a JPEG. My god. My rent is cheaper than that.
Apex, all right? So if I had $1,000, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, I would have done so many things. Like, so many things come to mind, you know?
Fucking, if you have so fucking many money, call in a prostitute for God's sake. At least have some testosterone in you.
No, I'm not that Apex. Like, if I had $1,000 at hand, I would have invested it, you know? I would have made more money out of it.
Yeah.
Like, why spend it on a skin, you know? I mean, I get it that people do spend it on a skin, but still. And he's talking that skin gacha does not work. You know? He has never seen League players spend $1,000 on the Ari skin. That's why.
Yeah, like that depends. That depends on the community that you have. Like, if they are branded psychos that willing to spend money, you know what? Fuck it. But this is a new game, so like a community for zero. You in DNA you will have a community of responsible people at least, in theory.
I mean, there are people who spend a lot on the this thing as well. You know, characters as well. I have seen a player in Europe, like he has like I think I don't know 500 or so thoughts extra. All right, extra.
My god.
So imagine like he has bought all those thoughts.
God damn. Let's continue.
Yeah.
So we've talked about everything unique DNA has to offer, and I think the gacha-less character system, lack of stamina, and the cosmetic-based monetization are all mostly okay. I'm sure they will appeal to a certain fanbase that will support the game because of it. However, I believe Do I Night Abyss suffers from one major issue. something that's way harder to fix, and something more ingrained in its systems. The gameplay is just kinda boring? I mean, I understand that there's all sorts of tricks and maneuvers you can do, except for the week I played this game, I just spammed left click and felt I was never challenged. I feel like there's no synergy between a character's kit and how you can express them. The different moves you can do just feel like different variations of the same attack.
Okay, Apex,
Because of how you
just pause the video just for a bit.
Hmm?
Look at his level. Look at his level. Look at his level. Just look at his level.
He's at level 40. Like,
Yeah. So you played
Well,
Hellfire, right?
40, 50. No, I didn't
Yeah.
get Hellfire. Yeah, like the boss.
You
Yeah,
played Hellfire, right? You played Hellfire, right?
the boss.
You
yeah.
know how hard she is, right?
Yeah, she's a fucking nightmare.
So the thing is, you just spam left click. Can you spam left click? Be honest.
On Hellfire. No,
Yeah.
no.
See,
I
that's
always
the-
need to
that's the whole
touch.
point.
I always need to touch that peach.
Yeah, and that's not even the worst part, all right? So I play Sybil on level 60, all right? I recently farmed Sybil on level 60.
Oh god.
So Sybil, when you hit a certain threshold, she like forms like a cage of thunder, all right? And every time the stagger bar depletes, the cage of thunder expands inward,
Oh god.
all right? So it expands inward, and that's not even the worst part, Apex. You know the bare piece of land in the middle? It's struck by lightning at random points.
Fuck.
All right, and that on top of all that, she just swings her whip sword and attacks us.
So you mean there is a challenge in this game?
There is a huge challenge in this game.
I guess he just forgot to mention that. Alright,
Yeah.
let's continue.
You can
It's
only
just
on-field
that he
one
does not
character
have
at a
any endgame with him. That's the thing.
Hmm.
He's not doing endgame content. He's just doing starter content.
His fault.
time. You can't do any elemental interactions or rotations with other characters in the party. I've also read in the reports on the movement not feeling as smooth, but I'm assuming this is fixable. What's something that you cannot change is the very nature of the gameplay. I thought maybe they would have done something different apart from the early beta launch, but now that the game is out, it almost makes me think that they've dedicated most of the resources to revamping the progression system and left the gameplay design as is. I mean, in my eyes, the gameplay is the beating heart of the game. I can put up with a stingier system if the gameplay is good, but if it's not fun, then even the most generous gacha system can't save you. Now, I normally don't comment on the nature of gameplay since it makes no sense for me to argue that a 3D brawler is better than tower defense. In this case though, in the context of an action brawler, I feel like DNA just doesn't have much for me to chew on. Now, maybe there's something I'm not getting, but during my time playing, I just wiped the floor on every stage just by spamming normal attacks on my ult ability. So I didn't see a
Hellfire, all right?
Yeah. Level 40 on 40.
Yeah, level 40 Hellfire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like,
I can literally, wipe her within a few seconds.
but I don't. I can't do it yet.
Yeah, so I have maxed the Vernica, alright? So, but still, even for me, it is going to be very hard at my level. Level 60 Hellfire is very hard for me.
Yeah. Okay, let's continue.
reason to learn enemy attacks or adapt a different strategy. In other action brawlers, you have different team members meant to play their roles, and it's satisfying to pull off a tight rotation or see how your team comes together. Here though, everyone is just kind of expected to do damage, and it's not exactly creative how they do it. There's no opportunity for me to know that I'm doing something wrong. As long as you can maintain your character and weapon levels and get some decent demon wedges, you won't be in any danger most of the time. My guess is that eventually, some of the endgame content will be harder and more centered around co-op teams with distinct roles during the fight, so you have more interactable elements with other players and how you all come together to contribute. I know some of the demon wedges change your playstyle quite drastically, with some even adjusting your movesets, though I never got too deep enough into the game to know if it truly matters that much. My own prediction is that the game will do well enough to garner and maintain a player base. I don't think it's going to reach the upper echelon of gacha gaming revenues, and I predict that not a lot of games will follow suit what DNA is doing. I'm sorry to say it, I highly respect Pan Studios' decision to remove the character gacha, but let's not kid ourselves. Skins are just not as profitable as trying to capture whales with dupes and signature weapons. The current models of traditional stamina and gacha systems work so well that I really think there's just no point of taking the risk of going the gacha skin route for a lot of developers. No, I don't think Duet Night Abyss will kill gacha games or reform them to a great extent. the impact of the decision to remove stamina and character gacha will be fairly minimal in the grand scheme of things. The monotonous gameplay is something that's a bit more subjective, though I feel this is a much harder problem to tackle than performance or game economy issues. This is my main concern when playing the game, and for me, it leaves a lot to be desired. If you ask me how Duel Knight Abyss will perform in the long run, I think it will do just fine. Maybe not to the extent of the other giants in the industry, but for a new studio, I would say it's pretty solid overall. I think the music, the story, and the general quality should be praised for a studio's first real attempt at a large title. I think the innovations to go the gacha-less route and removing the stamina system are fine. They're not what I consider to be the ideal solutions to the problem they're meant to be addressing, but it's different enough that people will find interest in it. It just depends how this will all pan out in the long term. The monetization is mainly cosmetics-based, and they're going to get a little stingy on that. My biggest gripe right now is the lack of interactivity in the gameplay, and this will be a much bigger issue to handle than the other items on the list. And even though it might not be for me, I can see how the game can have an addictive grind for the right players, and this is a game I overall would have no problems recommending to others to try. This is going to be one of those games I'll check back in a year to see how well it's doing. When I first heard the news that DeNA was removing the gacha, I thought this might have actually been a turning point in the genre, and when other studios see the success it's getting from this decision, they'd follow suit. Now though, I look at the game and think, yeah, I guess that's also another way to monetize the game. Sure, why not? Games will always ask for a lot of your time or money, and I can see that DeNA just happened to choose the former. Thank you for tuning into this First Impressions review.
So the thing is FX.
So it comes to that. Yeah, the grind is subjective. The skin gacha is subjective. Everything is subjective. Somebody like this, somebody doesn't. I do know what I like. Like, is that the conclusion?
And not only that, FX. Like, so in DNA, you have the choice of not grinding as well, right?
Yeah.
If you don't want to grind, you can just pay, right?
Yeah, if you want to pay,
He's
go
not
and
talking
pay.
about that as well.
Yeah.
Right, so you can just grind and not pay, or
Yeah.
you can pay and not grind either.
Exactly. Or
And not only that, not only that, Apex. See, since you do not know about this, I'm gonna tell you. All right, Ananta is apparently gonna copy DNA's format of not having gacha.
Ananta? Oh, that game.
All right, so
Oh,
imagine. I hear rumors on Twitter saying that they're gonna copy DNA's format of not having gacha.
Okay.
So he's exactly saying that DNA is not gonna kill gacha. It has already killed gacha. You know?
Right. There's a comment right about it. Psyche, why can't I have a game like this? DNA, hey. Psyche, ew, no. DNA, I'm literally the game you described. I'm literally the game that you want.
Exactly, like exactly what I said, right? You know, what he's asking is like, you know, a flat game, which is very bland. It is very plain, and you know, you have just one route to go. You have no creativity, nothing at all. You know, just play the game and close the game. That's it, done.
Yeah, DNA has that option.
DNA does have that option, but you know, you can be creative with the builds. You can be creative with your playstyle, all of that. You know.
Yeah, it sounds like the man never played a JRPG. Like, seriously.
Exactly. And also, it's like, see, he's saying that DNA is a gacha game, right? DNA is not a gacha game.
No,
that's the difference.
Yeah, it's not really a gacha. It's like, it
a
was
looter
originally a gacha, but it removed the gacha mechanic.
Yeah, it's a looter shooter now.
Like, yeah, it's a traditional 3D RPG game with cell shading.
Yeah, so it's like Warframe. It's called a looter shooter.
Yeah, yeah. Like, it's a Warframe with cell shading. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing. You know, it's just, I really don't understand it. It's like, you know, he's just poisoning. Like, I don't know. Like, you and I, we have played this game and we have been waiting for this game and we know about this game, right? So
yeah.
Just imagine if someone new comes in and looks at this video, they're gonna, you know, believe it, right?
No, it's more like they're gonna be confused. Like, dude. Like, okay, they will watch the video. We'll see. Okay, let me look it up by myself. Play the game, and they will say, dude, this game has all the solutions you wanted. Why are you so fucking blind?
Exactly. Like he's talking about all the solutions, fixed prices, fixed stats, all of that. It's already there in the system.
Yeah.
I honestly don't understand Apex. Like, these guys have too much time on their hands.
Yeah, when you have so much time, like he has too much time to be free.
And no, he has too much time to complain as well.
Yeah, like you know what we do need to do? We need to make this man play. We need this man to play every Final Fantasy game from the very first one to the 9 or 10, even the 14th one. Like from the start to the finish with the max, with the all, make him grind
Apex.
never
Yeah.
ending.
So
to the end.
Apex, you want to know what game I want him to play? I want him to play Nightingale.
Oh god.
Go around farming, coming and building.
Yeah. Oh god.
That will be an experience. He should play Nightingale. He'll understand what actual grinding is.
Dude, I am playing Xenoblade X right now, and in there you need to grind a shit ton of things to get the top armor, the top mech.
I know. Like I played Elden Ring, and it's very hard. You have to grind and grind. You have heard of Radahn, right? In Elden Ring. You have heard the Radahn, Starsage Radahn, the boss in Elden Ring, right?
I don't.
I did Radahn 7 times. Do you know that?
Whoa.
I went back, came again, 7 tries altogether for Radahn. All right. So that's the thing, I realized that my build was lacking. I went back, scrapped the build it again entirely, came back, again scrapped the build, built it entirely. So that's the thing,
Yeah, so
if he had to do that, he'll just, smash his PC on the ground and burn it.
Yeah, this man never played a Dark Souls game, he never played a JRPG, he never played CSGO or League or Dota. This man is a baby.
And not only that, Apex. So, in competitive games like Dota, CS, and Overwatch, all right?
Yeah.
So imagine all that decision making, and on top of all that, your team and the enemy team is trash talking you.
Yeah, and on top of that, he never even played a racing game. On top of that,
yeah, I know. Like you had to grind in every game. You had to dedicate yourself. You had to.
My man never knew what stress is.
Yeah, he just pays and gets the stuff.
Yeah,
it's not that easy.
Yeah, okay. I think that's enough for the topic, and also Creeper is on the chat. You ever watching high-speed chases? I know, way off topic. No, I never watched a high-speed chase, if you mean the American type. Maybe 1 or 2, cases where the cops were doing something outlandish, but other than that, no, I didn't. Dark, you did?
Alright then, Apex, yeah. Alright then, Apex, you better continue your review. I'll just,
Yeah, I will continue with my bullshit from now on.
Yeah, so yeah. Okay, then, Apex, thank you for the review.
Thank you, Dark.
Alright, Apex, good night then.
Yeah, see you later.
Yeah,
or you will be in chat, or whatever. Okay, bye.
Then I will come later. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. Okay, and I am gonna take... Okay, and I am gonna take a little bit of a break, because I need to go to the porcelain throne and fill me up some energy drinks. I'll be in a minute. Enjoy some music in the meantime. Okay, I am back, and oh my god, oh my god, I missed a lot of your chats. Okay, let's start with Julian. This music gives me vibes like it's the year 2005. Then it's good. Oh, hello Reaper, just came back from Discord. All good, you were having fun? Yeah, kind of. I used to be the editor of my college paper. Damn. So I can't have good analytical skills. Nothing special though. It's useful in the right circles. Yep. Hey Pixie, Julian! My goodness. Well, not now that we're back. Let's jump to the next video, which is from funny shit to some... Oh my god, to some creepy shit. The most disturbing crimes that happened in the FNAF community. I need to tell you something. What do you need to tell me, Julian? Is that my hat is almost blocking your chat? By the way, give me a second, I need to fix that shit. Yeah, that's better. What do you need to tell me, Julian? That was a god level roast too. Huh? What are you talking about, Ek? How to increase Kuvuva quality for you? I will send it to you. Oh my god, I am afraid. What are you gonna send me, Julian? What are you going to send to me? Oh god. Oh! You were not supposed to see that. God. Done. Julia. God damn it. I think the contrasted brightness bullshit. No, Dark, it's not. God damn it. When I saw it, I thought about you. Shadow! God damn it, Shadow! Oh, for God's sake! Shadow has ruined my entire VTuber image. My god. That's my little sister. Dark, what are you talking about? Wait, are you talking about Phoebe? Tell Julian to stay away from my little sister. Julian, stay away from Phoebe. Oh my god. Let's get to the video. Okay, one more time. Most disturbing crimes that happened in the FNAF community. A community that is full of predators. Oh my god. Don't worry, not interested. Thank god, Julian, thank god. But... I will need to talk to Shadow about the entire feed shit. He started it. And now I have to deal with it. Okay, but let's watch the video now. My god, this is gonna be a heavy one.
These are some of the most disturbing crimes that happen in the Five Nights at Freddy's community. And as the list goes on, the cases will only keep getting worse.
Oh god. Oh, I am a very overprotective Oni-chan. Oh god. Oh goodness. At least I hope you are not very obsessive Oni-chan, because that will be scary. Hey Dark, do you like Game Tales? So Julian needs to keep his distance. Wait, Game Tales. Aren't those the people who make like Lego games? Game Tales. I did play a lot of Tales. Oh my god. I will not get into that ballpark. I liked Tales of Arise most YouTube channel. Game Tales YouTube channel. Wait, what? Tell Dark not to touch Yinlin and Shorekeeper. Oh my god. Ah, a channel. Okay, I am not getting into that. So whatever. Let's get into the video.
It's April 19th.
Case 1 for enough energy. This content strictly follows YouTube's advertisement friendly content. Okay, got it.
2022. The final book in
Dark is typing. Yinlin is already my wife. I am called Charo, by the way. Don't tell me that you are doing role plays in WoWa. Please don't tell me you're doing that.
the official Five Nights at Freddy's short story collection, Face Bear Frights number 12, Felix the Shark, has just been released. And as the readers go through the book's 3 stories, they begin noticing a strange pattern. Each story follows a character searching for something, only for that search to backfire, showing how curiosity can quickly turn into trouble. Now a few months later, MadPat, a well-known game
Hashtag ignores Dark from now on, my god. Oh wait, isn't that the case when MadPat made a theory about ARG and then his fans started to look into some restaurant that was called Fazbear's Pizzeria or whatever. And then they were harassing the pizzeria owner with infinite phone calls. And then Matt has apologized for it. Julian can keep the weeping bride who likes to float. What? Oh god.
theorist on YouTube uploads a game theory video called Five Nights at Freddy Has Stumped Me Again. He focuses on what he sees in Felix the Shark, suggesting it points to a scrapped Five Nights at Freddy's ARG.
Maybe FNAF
Yeah.
had clues for something similar. Or maybe there were plans to do a similar sort of treasure hunt, but the plans got scrapped
Also, I can compromise with Yinlin to an extent. I am afraid to know what you mean by that.
along the way. I can't be sure.
He also explains that
But
an
not
ARG
Chun-Li. Oh, okay, I got it now.
or alternate reality game is an interactive story using the real world, with clues hidden in actual locations for people to find. And because much of Five Nights at Freddy's lore is connected to Utah, and the story The Scoop follows someone searching around for answers, he points to Utah as a likely place for fans to investigate, and asks them to share what they discover on the Game Theory subreddit.
It seems like something's here, but if it is, I can't figure it out on my own. Maybe you're a theorist from Utah and you know the locations I'm talking about. Maybe you do know how to break open the files of a mobile game. If you think you've gotten yourself some answers, or maybe just another lead, head on over to the Game Theorist subreddit to post your finding.
Soon after
Worst
MadPat's video,
mistake.
fans would start posting leads and comparing notes, and the search would move from online discussions to real-world
Floating Bright is the blue healer with a veil, by the way. You know who she is. I got it now. But who is the Weeping Bright? Julian's favorite resonator. Okay, that's the floating, okay, but who is the Weeping Bright? Are you talking about the Weeping Bright or the Weeping Angel?
locations. Some would start calling businesses in Utah, and others would drive out to places they thought might be connected. And a few even considered breaking into private residences, turning
Oh,
what
God.
starts as online curiosity into harassment for the people on the receiving end. And in early June 2020, a worker at a small diner in Utah would post on the Game Theory subreddit saying, "I work in a small diner in southern Utah, and we got 17 calls over my shift asking if we were Fazbears. Come on y'all, it's common sense. Don't be harassing people over something that may not even be real." The situation got so severe that the diner had to shut down the main phone line for the rest of the night, just to
Oh,
complete
God.
their shift.
Some people actually call
Weeping Bright is the reference to how Shorekeeper always looks sad. Oh god, now it makes sense. Okay, I got it now. I got it now.
called the actual places of businesses in the towns that were referenced in the book. According to our subreddit, one place of business actually received enough annoying phone calls that they actually had to shut off their phones.
Now,
My
while the
God.
thread remained active, some fans insisted that the post was part of the ARG, as others complained that the fun was being ruined. The initial
You
employee
serious?
tried to respond, but the constant back and forth became so overwhelming, leading them to eventually delete their Reddit account completely. In the days that follow, another user would ask the community to stop as well, noting that other locations were being affected, including a water park that once had a shark as a mascot, which some fans linked to Felix the Shark. The search would escalate even more, when somebody decided to upload a photo of a man's grave from 1987,
excuse
suggesting
me.
to dig it up for clues, which of course is extremely illegal, and that is when most
Some people are crazy.
people would finally start stepping back, realizing just how far the search had gone. On June 9th, 2022, MadPat would then upload a response video, calling the whole thing a wild goose chase, and telling the viewers to stop participating.
I never wanted or intended anyone to bother real people, and it's never ever acceptable to harass an individual or a place of business.
And as a result, the search would lose its momentum. Even then, the consequences were already clear, since the hunt pulled real people into something they never asked to be a part of. But
Also, Apex Vatark. Install Verwin Smith. Later.
unlike MadPat, however, this next person
It is out right now. I know.
was directly tied to the series itself and became infamous for her actions within the community.
Oh, wait.
Something they never asked to be a part of. But unlike MadPat, however, this next person was directly tied to the series itself and became infamous for her actions within the community.
Isn't that? Oh my God! Isn't that the artist who was like doing tracing of artworks of others and also had pedophilic past or whatever it was?
She also participated in really vulgar
Oh,
uniform groups on DeviantArt.
Equally bad, to be honest. Lady Fizzy, yeah, that one.
In early 2020, a notable artist named Lady Feshy, who had previously been hired by Scott Cawthon, the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's, to work on the franchise, would start posting a series of controversial comments on Reddit. The discussion centered around a Five Nights at Freddy character named Mangle, who's gender fluid, and in these comments she would say,
"She will always be a pretty girl for me, not this nonsense."
What?
in another comment she would add,
Oh God, that train sound freaked me out for a second. That is why they call it deviant art, of
Millennials
course.
can be triggered by anything. Why can't I be triggered when someone is calling themselves something confusing and non-existent?
and she would follow up with,
I wish back the times when the joke, "What gender is your baby? It will decide when it will be old enough," was just a joke and not reality.
for someone directly
To be honest, I agree with the person on this one because, like, you are born with your gender. Like, you cannot change it anyhow, no matter how much you mutilate your body.
connected to the franchise, these statements instantly faced a lot of criticism. She dismissed people's genders as nonsense, accusing them of making them up just to feel unique, and
Yeah.
calling others easy to trigger. Now, as a result,
Which is also right, to be honest, because my God, are people sensitive nowadays. Especially in the last like 5 years. They think they're
Reddit would
entitled to everything.
ban her from the platform, making it clear that her comments crossed the line. And over the next couple of months, users would repeatedly call out Feshy for her past comments. And because of her high profile,
You should make it work with what you are equipped me with. Nothing more. Oh wait, are you talking about like the game or with the genders?
in the Five Nights at Freddy's community, moderators would even personally reach out, asking her to address the situation. And eventually, she actually decided to respond publicly. On September 28, 2020, Feshi published an apology post. She opens up by saying she doesn't really want to apologize for what she said, but acknowledges that her words hurt innocent people. She then goes on to admit that her comments about gender identities and trans people were ignorant and uneducated. And she then explains that the cultural differences played a role, noting that trans people aren't common in her home country, Hungary. Feshi also claims that she's been harassed and provoked online to say more transphobic things, pointing to the abusive responses she received and emphasizing that this kind of treatment needed to stop. However, things would begin to take a more disturbing
What you are equipped with at birth. Yeah, you are fully right about it, because if you can't make it work, I'm sorry, but you're not making it through natural selection if you are not making it with what you have already.
turn because of what she said next. But before going into that, I want to thank the sponsor of this video for making this possible, FreeCash.
And I am thanking you for the fact that I can skip like half a minute. Okay.
A bit different, but it works pretty much the same everywhere. And now let's get back to the video. After saying she regretted all of her past comments, she also mentions that she had received life-threatening messages over a fanfiction she wrote many years ago. The story, now deleted, was her own take on the Five Nights at Freddy universe, involving missing children and her version of the game's killer, William Afton, often referred to as Purple Guy, who she named Barney Miles. Her work sparked controversy because of how Barney and the scenes were written. The most infamous example appears in her fanfiction with Betty, the story's main character. In this scene, her death is described in grotesque detail, depicting Barney taking pleasure in harming her and others in extremely obscene ways. In response to the backlash, Feshi says,
I admit, I got really carried away to show how twisted my version of the Purple Guy is. It had some explicit undertones, but no actual scenes where Purple Guy hurts a It still wasn't appropriate since many fans are young. It would be very different if I write it today.
The fucking prototype for Cover Right from Teletubbies. My god.
This still wouldn't be the end though, as more of her dark past would come to light. On January 22nd, 2023, a user named IronAiden07 would post images on Twitter, revealing that Feshi had participated in anti-Semitic groups. The post includes screenshots and commentaries saying,
Look, I know that the Nazis has anti-Semitism in them by default, but to be honest, it's just like neo-Nazi shit, no anti-Semitic yet. So
She's drawn pictures of Nazis and is part of groups on DeviantArt. She even did a second drawing of these characters.
The post would quickly catch a lot of attention, with some users reacting in disbelief. One would write,
Why do people idolize that garbage?
while another writes,
There's a
within hours, these posts would spread across Twitter, and
tell it to Shonto and to that Red Miko character. Well, to be honest, Shonto is not a straight up Nazi. She's like, kinda like aging with the humor, but whatever. The Red Miko is a straight up Nazi, so whatever.
and the Five Nights at Freddy fan communities, with thousands of people seeing it. And so a month after that, Feshi would make a DeviantArt post addressing more allegations against her. She starts by acknowledging that she got permanently banned because of the recent posts linking her to these groups, responding,
Yes, I joined these groups, that's very true. That was 15 plus years ago, when I was 18 to 20 years old, and just discovered anime/manga. Hellsing was one of the few mangas available in my language. I was super edgy back then and looked up everything with that design. Dark uniforms, blood, evil characters, I loved it. It took me years to realize these aren't edgy, but I totally forgot about the groups I joined. I was lazy to look up the groups I'm not active in anymore.
She would then address the accusations of being a clarifying that these claims were because of her fanfictions about a man she describes as a serial killer. Feshi would explain that at the time she was still edgy and her intent in creating Barney's sadistic personality was purely fictional, saying,
But so you know, murderer men do feel power and when they kill, and they love it. That's why they do it. Some clearly can't differentiate fiction from reality.
She also addressed accusations of being a transphobe, which she admitted were true. Looking back, she explains that at the time she was at one of the lowest points of her life, both mentally and physically, having lived with Crohn's disease for 17 years, and adds that when she's depressed, she tends to get angry and hostile, which caused problems with her family as well. Now around this time, more people start noticing things Fishy did in the past, including that in 2016, she traced several pieces of art created by other artists, with people from the community calling her out because of this. And she would publicly admit it, posting,
Okay, since Kryptonite Dark Knight was really forcing this, I admit, I traced this image. It's not original.
But even after all of this, more stuff would come out about her. On February 23rd, 2023, a Twitter user named FrepO would post several screenshots of interactions between her and Fishy on DeviantArt from 2016.
Here's an ableism plus transphobia double whammy. I could go on for longer about how she encouraged me, a very obvious year-old, to keep reading her fanfics, but unfortunately most of the comments from that got nuked.
Later that same day, FrepO would post again, this time sharing a private message from Fishy. The screenshot shows an unknown person relaying a message from a fan, asking if they could write a fanfic based on her work, begging her to not go along with it. And Fishy would brush it off by saying,
Torturing Ben and kidnapping and hurting Betty, well, if the writing is good, I would read it.
With her name now completely out in the open, more and more people beginning to scrutinize her, and 2 days after the incident, she would address the screenshots. She admits that she did have those conversations with FrepO, but insists that FrepO actually brought it up first. With no way to confirm her claim, she ends up saying that although the story was initially marked as mature and age restricted, she removed it for greed and likes, calling it a big mistake. And even Scott himself would eventually make a statement on Reddit saying,
Hey everyone, I won't write much about this here, but I will say that Lady Fizzy no longer does artwork for Five Nights at Freddy's. Scenarios involving are disgusting and gross in any form, including fan art and fan fiction, and have no place in the Five Nights at Freddy's universe. It is my understanding that she regrets this time in her life, and I wish her best going forward.
This
this
the right
next
thing.
person, however, was another
Oh,
well-known figure
Squimpus, my Grimpus. Wait, didn't he turn out to be a pedophile too?
in the community, and was exposed for things that would completely destroy his reputation.
Criminal.
Squimpus
Squimpus
McGrimpus.
McGrimpus was a YouTuber with over 350,000 subscribers on their YouTube channel. They're best known for being a pioneer in the Five Nights at Freddy's VHS genre, a style of fan-made analog horror videos based on the game series. Because of this, they became widely credited for their unique and intriguing videotapes online. Things would dramatically change on March 31st, 2020 though, when a year-old named Blue got into a conversation with Squimpus on Discord. At first, it was clear that Squimpus already knew Blue's age, as they asked how old they currently were. And with Squimpus being at the time, it could be argued that both of them were and that nothing wrong could happen. However, Squimpus would not only send Blue NSFW artwork, but would continue doing so for 2 years after they first met. By then, he already turned 20, while Blue was still only. Not only this, but a different user, who we'll talk about later on, would also confirm that Squimpus was already in several adult-oriented groups, but despite that, they would still exchange this kind of content with Blue, instead of using legal and consenting spaces. And soon enough, Squimpus themselves would confess all of their actions in a friend's private server, saying,
When I was I talked to Blue, who was about stuff, as in we both had interest in it. This was, and I'm not gonna beat around the bush with it. I entertained the idea of, if it's not then it's okay, for a very long time. I didn't realize how much hurt I was doing, not that I do. All I can say is that I'm willing to own up to my mistakes, in any way that I can. I did something really terrible, and it's more clear than it's ever been. Just know that I'm actively working to stop myself with these sort of things. Feel free to distance yourself from me until you're comfortable.
Shortly after, a statement from Blue themselves going into more detail about the situation started circling online. They wrote,
Hello, I'm the one referred to as Blue. I was a fan of Squimp, being in her fan server for quite a while. While she initially approached me,
so that's a woman. Of course.
Complimenting my work, things very quickly went and I eventually got uncomfortable, as she was well aware I was and continued. I was awestruck because she was an idol, and then scared to say anything because she was popular.
All of this would finally be exposed to the world on March 18th, 2023, when a Twitter user by the name of Burner Account posting a thread against all of the screenshots against
Yeah, just burner an account, name a burner account. Of course.
Squimples, as well as Blue's statements about the situation. Now, as soon as this post gained attention, Squimples made another response on the same day, apologizing for their actions and confirming that all of what Burner had posted about them was entirely true. They ended the tweet by saying that they were the only one truly in the wrong, and that they were going to leave and take months or years before returning to the internet. With Squimples being gone from the internet and their last video being over 4 years old, it doesn't seem like she's coming back anytime soon.
Yeah.
This next one though involves another popular creator whose actions would go on to be one of the darkest scandals in the community.
This apparently included Jody trying to convince
What?
to commit, as well as talking about.
What?
Darkest scandals in the community.
This apparently included Jody trying to convince to commit.
What?
As well as talking about their
On August 2nd,
What?
2025, a user by the name of The Tickler posted a public letter on Twitter regarding a well-known trans Five Nights at Freddy's YouTuber named GoMotion, otherwise known as Jody. This wasn't
What?
any ordinary letter, however, as it went into detail about Jody's years of questionably disturbing behavior towards them. It all starts on March 19th of 2020, when Tickler, who's at the time, receives a Discord message from an 18-year-old Jody, asking
Oh,
about their
God.
fan game team that they have, and if she can be a part of it. After a few days of chatting, Tickler would eventually join a server with Jody and start interacting with her through voice channels, which unfortunately would be the first of many. Their usual conversations start with Jody dumping her emotional problems on him, with Tickler consoling her during those moments. One example of this was when she opened up about her history of self-harm.
Also, I sort of used to self kinda a lot. I was so depressed, I didn't know what else to do. And like, you get a legitimate high for it. I still don't hate the idea of doing it. Not that I would, of course. But it relaxed me so much. Don't ever do it again, please. It felt really good, I'm not gonna lie. I promise I won't do it, for you.
But even then, Jody would confess even more disturbing things.
I did bad things, mostly when I was into I was rude to people, other channels who made edits, drove one kid to attempt to leave this earth. I don't talk to them anymore. I abuse people. I was
What the
generally
hell?
just kind of a dick to everyone. Jesus. Well, I wasn't the best person either, so I guess that's like the past now. Gotta focus on like now.
After this, Tickler would explain that Jody elaborated on the situation in a voice chat. She told them she had instructed this person to turn on his camera so she could watch while he attempted to leave this earth. From that point on,
Oh my god. Those people are like just shitty people, honestly.
the way they interacted began to change, with Jody's fixation on Tickler quickly turning into obsession. Just a week after they first met, she would constantly burden Tickler with her struggles over wanting to be a certain gender.
I just wish I was a cis girl. I understand how upsetting that could be. Hopefully, eventually.
Aren't you a girl already? Or are you what? Are you a fucking lesbian or something? Of course, jeez.
It's possible. I really want you to be able to have that. You deserve that. I just want to so bad. I just want to be happy.
A trans person, okay, now that makes sense. Of course.
My stupid especially right now. It's uncomfortable as hell. I just want it gone.
Now several days would pass, and Jody would begin revealing yet another side of herself to Tickler, describing herself as having body dysphoria. In a few instances, she would talk about crying.
Body dysphoria, isn't that the shit that you constantly think that, like, you think that if you remove your limb, then your body will become perfect? Or whatever. Of course. Yes, Julian. Shit is that fact.
As she was jealous of Tickler's voice, and would say that they're lucky to be born in the right body. Tickler was undeniably off-put by this, and would even apologize even when she hadn't done anything wrong. But not only that, Jody even went as far as stalking Tickler's boyfriend, who we'll call John, out of jealousy towards the two of them, saying that she wants something like that for herself.
Looked at
What
John's
the hell?
art again. Heh. Oh gosh, I'm sorry, this isn't your fault. Why do you look at it if it just upsets you? How did you even find it? I don't know. I have a jealousy problem. I just wish I was you so much.
And this kind of behavior would continue.
Looking at John's Twitter, smiley face. I'm just trying to focus on my breathing right now. I'm trying to push the pain out. I'm specifically jealous of you and your
what?
boyfriend. I just really want something like that myself.
Over the following months, Jodie's messages about wishing to be a woman would continue. But apart from that, in late 2020,
My
two
God.
statements from anonymous users we'll call Grigory and Quan, who also know Tickler, surfaced from the internet, revealing the terrible things they went through with Jodie herself.
Although my messages with Go Motion
But dysphore is the medical condition that certain unwanted body parts exist in a person. Yeah, that's what I meant. Like, they feel like they think that they have like a limb a body part that they don't need. So yeah, like they think that if they remove this like specific body part, their body will become like perfect. My God, those people are sick.
were rather brief, some things stick out to me. She would usually call me slurs when I had noted that they made me uncomfortable in the past, and would raise her voice in voice calls at me at times. She would dump some pretty heavy stuff on me without much warning, but nothing is as weird as she'd confess to me regarding Tickler that she would compare herself to art made by them, imagining herself as them or characters drawn by them and their art. There were often times in voice calls where she made me feel lesser, insulting me and berating me, even when I was trying to have a genuine conversation. The breaking point for me was a friend telling me Jodie saw Tickler interacting with a trans woman, whom she took what the trans woman was saying to Tickler as flirtatious, and began talking her, saying things as vile as she doesn't even pass. With that happening, as well as her total transphobic rants on Twitter, I knew things weren't going to change.
It turns out Jodie has been doing these things for a while, including using Tickler's artwork in inappropriate ways and keeping it a secret from her for years, which Jodie decided to admit to Tickler in March of 2020. What Tickler learned far too late though was that Jodie would fantasize about being Tickler in intimate ways. In a conversation between her and an unknown person, she would admit that
I told her about the drawings she made and how I'd have time to myself and look at them and stuff and imagine myself looking like that, and she's having a tough time processing that, but she only knows about the drawing. She doesn't know how I imagine myself as her, or that I imagine myself as anybody else.
But that wasn't the end of it either.
What
On the
the
very
hell?
same day Jodie admitted this to Tickler, she suddenly began bringing up the idea of visiting during the summer, in real life. For Tickler, the conversation was deeply unsettling, and even though Jodie treated it casually, Tickler felt conflicted by how sudden the suggestion was. But as Tickler assumed that Jodie seemed sorry for the things she'd done, Tickler simply couldn't deny her visit in the end. As soon as Jodie arrived at their house in June of 2022, Jodie's actions would only get more terrifying over time. The first couple of days seemed normal, but the day that they went on a hike at a local park, Jodie started complaining that her legs hurt and that it was all the walking she was doing. But later that afternoon, after they
Brother, hello. Hello, Blackout. Welcome to the shit show.
had gotten home and Tickler's mom was out of the house, Jodie admitted that it was all a lie. Jodie revealed that the reason her legs hurt is because of her constantly stretching and flexing them to redirect blood, trying to distract herself from feeling while being close to Tickler.
Yeah, I guess so. What the fuck?
And immediately after saying that, Jodie would take Tickler's hand and
I have come to realizing something the hard way. Fucking phrasing Blackout, please, for the love of God.
slowly guided under her blanket. Now surprisingly, Tickler would actually lean in and kiss her, which in hindsight was, according to her, the biggest mistake of their life, as she felt
Horror films that can in fact have psychological effects on humans. I don't think it's about the horror films. Like, we are talking about people from the FNAF community, like. And the thing that I always see every time is that the most creative, talented people that can be in a community are always the most toxic, just terrifying, terrible psychos on the planet. especially when it comes to a children's fandom. It's a different kind of like fucked up. I watched a horror film on Thursday last week. I still haven't recovered. Oh my god. I can understand that.
That Jodie's manipulation had pressured her to do all these things. Now, throughout the following months, their relationship would only keep getting worse. Jodie would become deeply obsessed with demanding Tickler's attention every day, growing jealous and aggressive whenever they tried to spend time with their friends, which in turn caused Tickler to lose the people they cared.
The film is called The Final, 2010. I will look it up later.
About. She would even admit to even more horrifying things in one of their chats, saying,
I hate my dad. I'm upset about how I'll never be accepted as trans by my family. I want to kill them all.
Now right after this, Jodie would continue to harass Tickler's friends from her Discord server, even after promising she would stop. Now seeing her as someone who would never change, Tickler eventually reached a breaking point. So in December of 2024, Tickler decided to stop communicating with Jodie altogether, but Jodie would refuse that, and her behavior would grow even more unstable because of that. She would keep spamming Tickler with messages, despite being told that they want space, and would even stalk Tickler across multiple social media accounts, and even publicly threaten to hurt themselves over the situation. Now,
tell him to watch Autopsy of Jane Doe. Autopsy of Jane Doe. Dark. What Jane Doe are we talking about? Oh, that's an entire horror movie. Okay, with Leonardo DiCaprio, really?
months would pass, with Tickler no longer being in contact with Jodie, and things would finally start to quiet down until May 21st, 2025, when Tickler would discover that Jodie had been making hateful statements and extremely transphobic posts.
It's a horror movie, yeah, I already looked it up.
On Twitter saying, "Let's become a statistic together." No longer.
What? What? Hold up.
Post on Twitter saying, "Let's become a statistic together."
What the hell? It's the scariest movie I ever watched. Okay, maybe I will look it up for myself.
No longer wanting to tolerate her actions, Tickler would finally decide to gather all of this as proof of Jodie's actions and expose her in front of the entire internet through a document. However, this isn't the end, because 4 days later, after the expose got posted, Jodie would upload her own response document detailing her side of the situation. In it, she denies having taken advantage of Tickler or manipulating them, immediately using her mental health issues as justification for her actions. She also admits to being
I hate when those people try to excuse their actions by mental health, trans identity, body dysphoria. You are a shitty human being. That's it. There is no excuse for that. You are insane. You're a psycho. And there is no excuse to it. You are just a piece of shit. Admit it. That's all. You have done what you've done.
Obsessive, but immediately blames Dad on her OCD. And she would also argue against Tickler's claim that she told a kid to turn on his camera so she could watch while he tried to leave this earth. She says he simply wanted to call on Skype and didn't explicitly say that anything was wrong. She adds that this situation happened because they were both causing each other issues in a Minecraft server, and she had no idea that this would result in him trying to hurt himself in front of her. Now, Jodie would also talk about how she used to fantasize by pretending to be the opposite gender, which she specifically did to Tickler, saying,
a few months after T had turned while I was 18, I did things to myself as them. Similarly, I felt euphoric imagining myself as female. There were no ulterior motives to this.
And she would end her document
As if
with
I'm
an
gonna believe
apology
that.
to Tickler, saying,
T, if you're reading this, I'm so horribly sorry for how I ruined it.
To this day, even with all of the backlash and constant hate towards Jodie, she still continues uploading videos on YouTube. Tickler, on the other hand, and many other people who were affected have now just started to get out of this long-standing nightmare. But this wasn't the case for the next individual, who became
I know that fucking story. Yeah, if we thought that that Jodie was disturbing, you don't know this piece of shit. Oh my god. Now before that, I need to go to the porcelain throne for a minute, because my bubble is about to burst. Give me a second. Listen to some music. Okay, I am back. Oh god. Okay, back to the video. Oh, Blackout. What a piece of shit you are.
I'm notorious for a lot of disturbing allegations against him.
It claims that Blackout has fantasies involving physical abuse to the point of bodily harm, murder, with dead bodies.
My god. What?
It's February.
Yeah, Blackout. No fucking way. Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry, Blackout. I'm sorry that there are two Blackouts. Right now. One. Okay, let's call this one Nietzsche. You are just Blackout. This fucker has my name. Get him. Okay, let's call him Nietzsche from now on. Nietzsche. Piece of shitty.
February 26, 2018, a German game developer named Nishi, also known as Blackout 1912, together with his team, releases a Five Nights at Freddy's inspired horror game called Dormitabus. The game is heavily inspired by the original Five Nights at Freddy's universe, but became infamous for its own story, focusing on a girl named Maria, originally based on Chica, one of the main...
The game is not based around Maria. The main cast, Blackout 4-2 versus Blackout 1912. Oh god. Okay, but Termitabis, the like main person, the main like character of Termitabis, it was not the girl that became Chica later. The game revolves around Harvey Wright, basically the purple guy of that universe. And the shit that he was doing to children.
Dormy Tabus. The game is heavily inspired by the original Five Nights at Freddy's universe, but became infamous for its own story, focusing on a girl named Maria, originally based on Chica, one of the main animatronic characters from Five Nights at Freddy's. In this version, she suffers.
What? No, the game doesn't focus on Maria. It focuses on Garvey Fright, who is the purple guy of this game. And I will tell that from the beginning. Harvey Wright, the purple guy of this game, is the representation of all the horrifying, dirty fantasies of Nietzsche. Just so you know.
A brutal death at the hands of Garvey Wright, a character designed to parallel the franchise's antagonist, William Afton. Almost immediately, the game gets recognized by most people in the community, even getting playthroughs from popular YouTubers such as Markiplier and Dako, making it undoubtedly one of the most popular Five Nights at Freddy's fan games of 2018. However, over the following months, many began to notice how disturbing the game truly was, even for a horror game. Its popularity gradually decreased due to criticism of its gameplay, story, and voice acting. But just 2 years later, it all went downhill because of one man.
Yeah.
On November 12, 2020, a well-known game developer within the community who requested their real name not to be mentioned and who we'll call Andre, uploads a video exposing Nishi for having done deeply horrible things to multiple users online. It all goes back to 2016 when Andre meets Nishi and becomes friends with him. And although things seem fine at first, their friendship begins to fall apart due to one factor. Nishi at the time is known for being incredibly rude to every person he essentially talks to. And with this in mind, it doesn't take long before Andre starts witnessing how Nishi has been harassing people in the Five Nights at Freddy's community.
Nishi at the time was known for being a very, mean person. He was very critical of the fan game community, and he would attack people like King Carter, Sama Gamma, if anyone remembers that, Adam HD, and all that.
Which leads to Andre cutting things off with Nishi completely. He makes it clear that he doesn't want to be associated with someone who's verbally assaulting people he doesn't like, seeing that Nishi has grown even worse.
Eventually, it got to the point where I ended up cutting my association off with him. He was becoming a very bad person. I just didn't want to be involved.
And he surprisingly doesn't take it well. He begins harassing Andre in various ways. And with the people affected by his actions, a decision is made to post a video exposing him 2 years later.
This led to him harassing me. It started a whole rivalry between us. He would send his friends after me. He would comment on my game jolt. He would do all sorts of things. Eventually, this experience, along with many other people's experiences, led to an exposed video on him back in like 2018.
The video posted in 2018 covers dozens of allegations, including multiple instances of Nishi's abusive and disturbing behavior. These claims detail him having depraved obsessions, taking pleasure in the idea of physical abuse, manipulating people, cheating on his partner, and using others for inappropriate activities. With this amount of information against him now entirely available online, Nishi vanishes from the public community.
This led to...
I don't know if he mentioned that, but Nietzsche was also exposed to be a Nazi, fucking of course, and a necrophile. Oh, and a pedophile on top of that. The fucking unholy trio of being an absolute, piece of shit. He needs the wood chipper.
Nishi leaving the FNAF community and basically going under the radar, and it worsened our relationship too.
And unfortunately, the video somehow disappears from the internet as well. But even after the leak, Nishi wouldn't stop going after Andre. The harassment continued, and he eventually even began.
Andre Nocturnum is one of the main devs in Radiant's team, the one who made the Mickey Mouse FNAF game.
Stalking him, blaming only him for making the video. On a random day in the same year though, Andre would be added to a group chat out of nowhere, and he would discover that the group consists of girls who had indecent interactions with Nishi. It's also at this exact time that Andre starts to finally connect that these girls are the ones mentioned in the expose, all of whom Nishi allegedly used for engaging in adult activities online. Out of all these people though, there's one that really stands out to Andre, which he disturbingly refers to as the year-old.
Out of all these people,
Oh god, oh no. Oh no.
people, there was one that really stood out to me. It was the person who I'll just refer to as the 2-year-old.
He explains that to his understanding, Nishi somehow got into contact with this person, which led to multiple illegal acts involving somebody not of age. He also discovers that Nishi sent an inappropriate photo of his behind to several people inside the group chat, specifically targeting the 2-year-old. Shortly after revealing this piece of information online, a number of people would refuse to believe these claims, one of them being a user named Honko, who begins publicly defending Nishi and accuses Andre of fabricating everything. And this sparks a whole new thing. Andre would point out that Honko has been harassing him for years too, going back as far as 2017, which makes it hard to take his statements as anything more than a personal grudge. Now, by the time these allegations surfaced, Nishi already left the internet, leaving one final message on his GameJolt account saying,
Jesus Christ, just leave me be. I don't want to live in your heads rent-free. I've moved on, and you should as well. Bye.
After this message, no further updates about Nishi emerged online. And although his allegations never disappeared, many felt that Nishi has gotten off far too easily, given his long history of abusive behavior and everything he was accused of. This next individual, however, is another creator whose game never got finished once people learned about the sickening things that he actually did.
Back in
I think I remember it.
He got into contact with him and started sending NSFW images and videos to him.
Of course.
Now, fan games have always been a big part of the Five Nights at Freddy's community, with some of them getting almost as much recognition as the main series itself. And for a while, Night Shift, a Five Nights at Freddy's inspired game, looked like it could be one of those projects. With several people involved in its development, as well as many fans looking forward to its release, the game was beginning to look like one of the next big projects within the community. But despite that, it would come to an abrupt end, as behind the scenes, things weren't quite as they seemed. On August 5th, 2022, a 10-year-old user named JenPen began talking to Xyler Guy, who was Night Shift's main developer, after responding to a message he sent in a Discord server they were in. At the time, Xyler was well over 18, according to a friend we'll discuss later. However, despite that age gap, in one conversation, Xyler would send Jen a video that seemed normal at first, but moments later, it would begin flashing images of explicit material, such as inappropriate depictions of drawings of small humans, as well as suggestive and NSFW images. And Xyler didn't just send these types of images once either. Over the course of a few weeks, while already knowing that Jen was a little person due to his age being displayed in his bio, he would continue to send unsettling content he called memes, which included even sensitive imagery depicting men. Now eventually, Xyler would descend into sharing even more sickening material, which was highly inappropriate content involving, again, little humans. As Jen would describe it,
in total there were 2 images of with their private parts, and one which was the most disgusting picture that I've ever seen in my life.
He went on to explain that what Xyler sent to him contained 2 images. One of the pictures, according to him, showed 3 small humans engaging in activities that were horribly obscene. Now surprisingly, Xyler wasn't the only disturbing person in the team. His friend named Blue was the co-director and main programmer of Night Shift, and he was caught talking inappropriately with a small human too, while possessing and distributing extremely indecent images of small humans. After gathering all of this evidence, Jen would finally reveal all of what they did to the entire internet. And in 2023, they uploaded a post containing a document on the gaming site GameJolt, which would lead to Xyler and Blue disappearing from the internet until now. But what this next person did was so severe that it horrified the entire community.
And it's that he's inspired an entire community of animal abusers to murder their cats on YouTube and post videos of it. It spawned an entire trend.
Fucking excuse me? Fucking full stop. What? What? How are we still alive as a species? Like, this is the only shit that makes me terrified. How are we still alive as human beings on this earth when we have this type of people?
It's September 11th, 2014. Mattia Vera Oyarzo, a 8-year-old boy from Chile, has just made his YouTube channel named Peluchin Entertainment, with his channel name meaning plushie in Spanish. He starts uploading videos with his collection of Disney and Teletubby plushies as characters. But about a year later, his content would suddenly change. The innocent, kid-friendly videos he uploads turn into crude animations, and before long, his channel is almost entirely dedicated to covering the Five Nights at Freddy's series. Now he continues to make these videos for over 3 years, and the videos in total would garner over 12 million views and gain him a substantial number of subscribers. Around this time, however, a lot of horrible things would start appearing, not just on his channel, but affecting him personally as well. In one instance, he admits to his audience that he frequently watches.
Hold up, I just realized. He was holding a fucking SCP-173. And at the time he was like below a teenager, like he was in his teenager age. Fucking hell.
And laughs at gore videos at such a young age, and he also becomes more and more socially dysfunctional, intentionally getting into conflicts with other creators for no reason other than to stir up drama, which would eventually result in strikes to his channel, as his recent videos at the time technically qualify as cyberbullying and harassment to YouTube, and eventually his behavior would even get worse. In November of 2018, for example, Matthias uploads a now deleted alarming video on his channel titled Tortazo, which translates to smack, showing him with his head blurred out, violently grabbing his cat by its limbs and fur. Community sources also say that the annotations about what he's saying in Spanish start appearing at this time, with him saying,
"Before I killed my cat had 2 broken limbs."
He then continues to shove his cat around on the ground and steps on it, with annotations appearing again saying,
"My cat now has a wounded tail. It's a little bit dislodged too."
He then kicks it onto the couch, grabs a wooden kitchen spoon to whack him before the video ends. And soon after, he would also upload other videos showing him hurting the cat with cat food and putting him in a toilet. Well, his toxic behavior has also
wood chipper immediately. Throw him into the wood chipper legs first. What the hell?
Already been escalating for months before this. The backlash he's been getting up until now pales in comparison to the outrage this video brings. Although the video is now deleted, he would respond to the accusations of animal abuse in a pinned comment, which when translated reads,
"Seriously, there are animals who are saying that this is animal abuse. What an exaggeration. Ha ha ha. I don't know what's going on through their minds to consider this animal abuse."
Now what's even worse is that just a few days later, Matthias claims on his channel that the cat had passed away because of natural causes. Now the video would spread online almost immediately across various online forums, which ultimately led to him being doxxed, as some wanted to see revenge on the cat's behalf. A hashtag would even start circling around, called #JustinForJason, which was the cat's name, and multiple change.org petitions would be created to terminate Matthias' channel and call for legal actions against him. Unfortunately, Jason the cat isn't the only animal who fell victim to him. On December 15th, Matthias adopts 2 new kittens and will proceed to do the same sickening things with them as he did to his original cat. On one particularly gruesome video, he would record himself dropping one of the kittens into a toilet and washing it and watching it struggle. Now several English-speaking creators would begin exposing the situation to a much larger audience, and he would then upload now deleted tweets where he says,
"I don't know who's been telling you that I regret what I did or that I feel bad about my cat dying. To me, it's worth nothing. Besides, I haven't done anything to it, and I regret absolutely nothing."
Thankfully, as more attention grew on Matthias' actions, an acquaintance would finally step in to save the cats, posting a picture of them on Facebook with this message.
"The cats are away from Matthias. As the only that knew where they were, I went to fetch them, and right now they're under the care of my family, while we look for people who will give them an appropriate place. Soon we'll speak to an animal rights advocate to promote their adoption."
At the same time, people online would also reach out to the police, who later released a statement on Matthias' case, saying,
"We informed the prosecutor's office regarding these occurrences, which ordered certain procedures that included an investigative process, such as putting together witness reports to establish the identity of this person, his parents, and how the events occurred."
Just a few months later, more of his actions would start coming to light.
This first one I believe you've probably heard of a couple years ago because it was kind of big news. The channel's called Peluchin Entertainment. I believe it was run by a year-old Spanish-speaking YouTuber who filmed multiple videos where he was beating, kicking, pulling, throwing his cat against the wall until he eventually killed it. on camera. He then adopted some kittens, which he flushed down a toilet trying to drown them and beat them as well. And it became kind of a big deal, at least in the Spanish-speaking YouTube community.
In August of 2020, almost 2 years later, after he took the life of his first cat, Moist Critical would bring attention to the story once more, highlighting the fact that in the wake of the original story, several other Spanish-speaking channels would begin assaulting and ending the lives of their cats in the name of Matthias.
But he's also
While I despite cats, I do not advocate unprovoked killing of innocent animals. Fully agree with you, Dark. And I personally love cats, so for me it's even heavier.
also inspired a trend among Spanish-speaking YouTubers where they go out and beat and kill cats in his honor.
What? They made a trend out of this? Are you kidding me? What is wrong with those people?
For some reason, this deranged loser has become some hero to animal abusers online.
Now, thankfully, as Moist Critical's video gained more attention over time, the majority of Matthias' many YouTube channels were terminated a month later. However, on November 17th,
Fucking bravo, bravo. You are fucking 7 years too late. Congratulations.
2021, Matthias, on yet another account he had created, would suddenly upload a video titled, "This November 25th, I will be sentenced. Will it be my end?" The video opens with a short clip taken from the footage of him, just before he made his cat leave this world. He then says it was considered one of his most heinous crimes, to the point that 4 police cars were sent to take him into custody, while also confirming that during this time he was being treated by a psychiatrist. Matthias ends the video by directly stating that on November 25th, he can finally be sentenced for the crime he committed 3 years earlier, and just a few days after going to court, he would upload an update on another channel, which would also end up terminated, writing,
I haven't had a definitive response about the sentence yet, so I'll start uploading videos again. And no, this wasn't an invention of mine. Lying about judicial matters is a crime. It's obvious that I wouldn't lie about that. I'll let you know when I receive a definite response.
And with his new channel named Matthias, now active on YouTube, he continues to create and upload content from time to time, which is crazy to think about. And while opinions remain divided over whether he deserves to still have a platform or not, the name he built for himself was something that will never be erased.
So recent. Okay, this is no. Okay,
These are some of the most disturbing.
My God. Those people are different kind of mentally ill. My God, I need to go to the toilet again. Give me a minute. Listen to some music in the meantime. I think all of us need some break at least. You should not watch those things. On stream, definitely. Definitely I should not watch this shit on streams. I fully agree with you. Okay, after the terrifying shit that we've seen, let's go to some ridiculous shit. In the funny way, of course. Cartefia pregnancy theory analysis in Vuva. First of all, what? Okay. Okay, this is interesting now. And it's also a short one, so let's watch it. This is definitely something we need after this insane FNAF shit. Let's go.
If Cardothea gets pregnant, will Fleur-de-Lis appear as pregnant too? Before we start, we need to understand that Fleur-de-Lis is considered the original Resonator, her true identity. Cardothea is like a fragment of that same essence, a part of her that was split off and went to live on its own, away from corruption. In gameplay, you can actually see this dynamic play out. Cardothea can transform to Fleur-de-Lis for a limited time, entering what is called a manifest state. Over time, the two start to blend together memory, essence, identity, until the separation becomes more symbolic than real. Most of the community agree they're not two completely separate people. Fleur-de-Lis is basically the divine or powered up form of Cardothea, the same soul, just manifesting differently. So simplified, Cardothea is the core self, the living, emotional, and grounded side. Fleur-de-Lis is the divine self, her empowered, almost idealized form. They share the same memory and essence. What happens to one in some ways affect the other. Now back to the original question.
Oh my god. Who made it? Who the hell made this picture? This fucking meme. Brilliant.
If Cardothea gets pregnant, will Fleur-de-Lis appear as pregnant too? Lore-wise, they share the same soul and body, so the answer would be yes. In essence, Fleur-de-Lis would share the same state of appearing pregnant. But when she transforms, Fleur-de-Lis' form might override physical changes like that since it follows a fixed or idealized template. So, spiritually or metaphysically, both forms will experience the same reality, but visually, Fleur-de-Lis might look unchanged. Well, what do you think? Do you agree?
Like, if you think about it, that would make sense. Or maybe Fleur-de-Lis baby will be like bigger. What if you make her pregnant in her divine form? Will Cardi become super pregnant in her regular form? Fucking hell, man. What would happen if Cardi gets pregnant and Fleur-de would deliver? A divine baby! A super divine baby! And also, I know it's not his only outlandish video. There is also... those two. Okay, let's see how much unhinged Wuva videos are here. Okay, the Lupa video. Is Lupa the sweatiest character in Wuva? A detailed analysis. Like, okay, let's see.
Does Lupa the sweatiest feet in...
Oh my god, Opera.
Does Lupa the sweatiest feet in Wuthering Waves when all she does is fight while wearing those latex boots? If so, would there be enough sweat to fill a cup at the end of the day when she comes back home? We know that at rest, the combined total amount of sweat of your feet, leg, and thigh amount to around 200 milliliters for an average person in a single day. However, Lupa is not an average person. She's someone who is very active and often goes on dangerous hunts and gladiatorial combat. This means that the energy and heat being generated would mean that her sweat generation is much faster than most people. On average, an active person would generate around 2 to 5 times the amount of sweat.
I saw Controller's milk video. We will get there, okay? We will get there. Don't worry about it.
Considering Lupa's activities, she is likely on the higher end of that scale. This is because the body generates sweat in order to cool itself down through a process called thermal regulation. The body will activate sweat glands to release a salty fluid that will evaporate from your skin, taking the heat with it and lowering your body temperature. The problem is that Lupa wears tight latex thigh-high boots with minimal ventilation. This would increase her sweat generation as it won't be able to evaporate the heat away. So, we're gonna say that we need to add a multiplier of 1.5 to take this variation into account. Lastly, we know that Septimon is a place with a hot climate and heavily inspired by Greece. Based on what we know, the temperature in Greece can reach over 30 degrees during the summer. This
welcome to the fucking to the desert region.
This will increase the sweat generations by an upwards of 150%. If we do our calculations, this will give us a total sweat generated by Lupa at over 2 liters by the time that she comes home.
God.
In conclusion, Lupa will sweat more than a 2-liter bottle of Coke in a single day, assuming it's the summer and she was out fighting most of the day. So, would you drink Lupa's broth when she comes back home? Well, what do you think? Do you
Hell
agree?
no. Hell the fuck no. Imagine smelling her boots after she comes back after an entire day in the arena. You didn't. Dark, you... Do not turn into the YouTube equivalent of Shadow, please. My god, Dark. You're into that shit too? God fucking damn it. But... my god, is this man... This man is unhinged, like seriously. Okay, next one. Can you drink Cantarella's milk in Vuva? Excuse me, what now?
Can you drink Cantarella's milk from a calcium cannon which she purposely ingests poison to build up her resistance?
Wait,
First of all,
what?
From a calcium cannon, can you drink Cantarella's milk from a calcium cannon which she purposely ingests poison to build up her resistance?
What?
First of all, we need to know what type of poison she was consuming. The name Cantarella can actually give us a clue because Cantarella is actually a type of poison used to build up her resistance.
Hold the fuck up.
First of all, we need to know what type of poison she was consuming.
Hold the fuck
the
up.
name Cantarella can actually give...
Not this fucking pose. Oh goodness. I was just saying something that came to my mind. Calcium cannon. LOL.
as a clue because Cantarella is actually a type of poison used during the Renaissance. It was described as a white powder with a pleasant taste and was sprinkled on food or wine. It was the perfect tool for political assassination, swift and deadly with no antidote.
So you mean it was fentanyl? Okay.
This is very similar to the method that Cantarella used in-game. However, the recipe to make this poison was lost over time, but many believe it is a form of arsenic. Now, whether or not her milk is safe to drink depends on the amount that she has consumed. According to the World Health Organization, any consumption over 100 mg is considered to be lethal. At that amount, you will have a 50%...
See, it has a pleasant taste. A death by euphoria. Goodness gracious.
Rate to get reincarnated. So, we're gonna assume that she has consumed around 100 milligrams. With this information, we can estimate the amount of milk an average adult can drink before the effects becomes dangerous. Anything under 100 milliliters, or a third of a can of Coke, is considered relatively safe. At worst, you might get some mild stomach cramps. Anything more than that, and the consequences will get more severe, so it would be wise to stay under that limit. We also know that arsenic has a half-life of around 10 hours. This means that every 10 hours, the amount in your body is reduced by half. When we do our calculations by applying the half-life formula, by the end of the second day, only around 3.6% of the original amount remains in your body. By the end of the third day, the amount drops to 0.68%, almost negligible. So in
I will 100% drink that. I will die drunk on her milk. Good luck with that.
Conclusion, we should limit the initial intake of Cantarella's milk to less than 100 milliliters. It is also a good idea to have a 2 to 3 day grace period in between to make sure any lingering amounts are flushed out of the body. So, would you still risk it and drink her milk or turn down the offer and play it safe? Well, what do you think?
Give me a second.
Do you agree?
I'm about to sniff. No, I'm not. Why the hell do I need to drink Cantarella's milk when I can get Fleur de Lis in her ultimate divine form and just milk her out? Like, there's already a Reddit thread about Fleur de milk capacity. So, why would I bother? Okay, and his last Vuva video. My apology to the Wolverine Waves and Zenless community for failing. No, not November. Of course.
I just failed No Nut November. This
Really?
was my first attempt, and I blew it. I just want to start off by saying I'm sorry. To my fans, to my supporters, I have
Divine milk is better than toxic milk. Yes, sir.
let you all down. In fact, I've disappointed the entire Wuthering Waves and Zealots community with my actions. I told everyone that I will make it to December. I even made a post saying how I was gonna stay strong for the team. But I swear,
yeah.
I just saw one image, and that's all it took. It was an image of female Rover and Belle making out. Meanwhile, male Rover and Wise was railing them from behind. Before I knew it, it was over. I didn't even realize until it was too late. Look, I'm gonna take full responsibility for this. This wasn't the algorithm's fault. This wasn't anyone else's fault. I only had myself to blame. I'm not worthy, and I wasn't strong enough. But was it worth it? Hell yeah! Are you kidding me? Getting a sandwich between female Rover and Belle? Sign me the hell up. I mean, they always say that you only live once, and you know what? That is such a relief, because I cannot do this a second time.
Oh, this
Life
meme.
is
I wonder how Buddhist milk tasted like. Will taste like. I have no idea, to be honest.
short, but not short enough. For those soldiers still out there, stay strong. I may have fallen, but
Or Phoenix milk for that matter. Oh god.
you still carry the hopes and dreams of the community. Get back out there and start grinding. Peace out.
October 38th. This is my final message. Jiangxin's milk. Yeah, I figured. United we stand, divided we fall. Fucking brilliant. Buddhist milk is Jiangxin's milk. Yeah, I figured. I figured. Oh my god. Alright, this is next level ridiculous. Whew. Okay, let's go to the next one, and this I will put away. And from gaming, let's go to the US Air Force, shall we? An entire half-hour video about the SR-71 Blackbird, the ultimate trolling machine, corrupted Intel files by Captain Slicetrax, unmatched in trolling, turning the tables on everything, outpacing the hot since 1964. Oh, this will be a good one. I started watching him literally like 2 days ago, and I loved every second of his videos. And now I will be watching a video of his on stream, and hello, let me watch the man's video.
This aircraft.
Oh my god, I think I need to do a reload.
If you Google searched this aircraft and threw a stone at the results blindfolded, you're still pretty much guaranteed to hit a meme, video, or one-liner about it going 3 times the speed of sound. Everybody knows the SR-71 is fast,
Yes.
but if you go down the history of this serving tray with engines, you're gonna find something very important. Speed
And
is
that is?
just one bullet point on the laundry list of evidence that the Blackbird being shaped like a flying middle finger was intended. Here it is.
Let's be fair, the Blackbird not only looks like a middle finger, but it also looks like the the south side finger.
Today we're gonna scream through the trolling record of America's Mach 3 meme machine, nicknamed the Habu by Okinawan residents after a Japanese pit viper.
The Lockheed SR-71 Blackbird, an advanced long-range strategic reconnaissance aircraft capable of Mach 3 and an altitude of 85,000 feet.
Was that fucking abridged?
71 Blackbird, an advanced long-range strategic reconnaissance aircraft capable of Mach 3 and an altitude of 85,000 feet.
Well, thank you, Alucard, but Do you really need to know that?
You sure do seem to know a lot about it.
Do you even read my Christmas list?
The Spy Kids version of Santa's sleigh was made to snipe pictures of the Soviet Union's military mistakes like a tabloid photographer, while also talking so much trash to their air defenses they might as well quit while they were behind. This plane was designed and built with an attitude, and when you combine that with both the Cold War and the pilots that flew them, it was only a matter of time before that rage manufacturing spread to any and everybody who let their guard down. It ripped its construction materials out from under the country it spied on to create a design that spat in the face of physics and thermodynamics. Then that design reverse carded the program that made it, one-upped nearly every non-pilot it came into contact with, and even after its retirement, it's still turning the tables on the military that bought it. It did not matter what it encountered, this flying FU would be a menace of a scope well beyond the missiles it was made to avoid.
The most American attitude to anything.
By the late 1950s, Soviet air-to-air missiles were increasing in both number and ability, and the Air Force and CIA were both starting to take notes, and they weren't very happy about them. Because one of the things they were specifically worried about was that the straight-winged and fairly slow U-2 spy planes would eventually be shown up as a lot less invincible than they had been up to now.
I just fought you and I think you're quite vincible. Okay, well.
To try and work around that, the Air
What a
Force had
joke.
played around with a recon version of the high-speed B-58 Hustler, but the lack of fuel in the recon pod it would have used and the growing presence of those surface-to-air missiles they were worried about pretty much destroyed any chance of usefulness it would have had. So that was out of the question too, along with various experimental designs like the Lockheed CL-400 Suntan. So it was time to roll a new plane, one that'll be faster, sneakier, and go higher than ever before. The CIA is gonna min-max the dexterity stat on this aircraft's character sheet so hard that the Soviet BBEG gives up on this spy plane D&D game we called the Cold War. Roll initiative. And the name this new program got was Project Oxcart. After going through the concept studies and request for proposals, the contract was awarded to Lockheed in 1959. And while Skunk Works and Kelly Johnson succeeded in beating out their Convair competitor, they still had to actually make this thing, which was a big ask by itself, because not only did the top brass want a plane that could pin down Mach 3 like a kink while being high as a kite at 90,000 feet, but they
28 kilometers?
top brass want a plane that could pin down Mach 3 like a kink while being high as a kite at 90,000 feet, but
Damn, okay, 27.5, but whatever.
they also wanted this flying miracle done in about 7 years.
What? Are you crazy? I guess Lockheed had to be on a different type of cocaine for that.
It better bloody work.
And when I say flying miracle, I mean everything had to be started from scratch. Flying high enough to prove flat earthers wrong from the cockpit was an issue by itself, but also going fast enough to out Pizza the Hut on top of it meant air friction heating the airframe to surface temperatures that had never even been thought about before. Pretty much everything on the plane had to be reinvented, right down to the tires, the oil, and even the paint job. Kelly Johnson claimed in his autobiography, More Than My Fair Share of It All, that he offered $50 to any of his engineers that could find a quick fix answer to any of their problems. But in
only $50? Seriously, only 50? That's a little bit too cheap, don't you think, Johnny?
the end, all he had to say was, I might as well have offered $1,000 because I still have the money. And making an airframe that could withstand the heating of air friction was a huge problem, because the only material that could sustain that kind of temperature was titanium, and America didn't have enough of it in the country to build 93% of every single spy plane in the fleet. In fact, none of America's friends had enough titanium for that. But if we don't have it, this plane isn't flying, so we're getting it. And the only person who had enough was Russia. So America decided it was time to steal a page from the comic book because they're about to turn your titanium into our titanium.
Now it's
The CIA would handle that operation, and they set up 6 different shell companies to purchase titanium gradually from the Soviets under the cover of building pizza ovens. You thought I was joking when I said going fast enough to out Pizza the Hut earlier, didn't you? And funny enough, the Soviets fell for it hook, line, and sinker because it was a popular myth in Russia that Americans were so lazy they'd rather buy pizza than make their own food at home. And
Oh god, that's great.
America held that wool down over Russia's eyes until they had a big enough stockpile to build their birds. Because that's capitalism, baby. We buy your stuff, then use that stuff to smash your stuff. This
Hell
takes
yeah.
the concept of forge from the blood of your enemies to a whole new level, alright? Johnson should have given that $50 to Uncle Sam because he clearly found the only easy solution in the book. We need to spy on Soviet people. How can we make that work? Oh wait, the Soviets already spy on Soviet people. How about we just take some Soviet extract, or a lot of Soviet extract, and bake it into a plane. Then we're gonna ice that spy cake with black paint because black both
Damn.
absorbs and gives off heat. So that'll distribute that friction heating evenly across the airframe so the front isn't getting hot enough to melt while the back stays cool as a cucumber. And speaking of cool, that plane cake would need a filling of what you can only describe as magic jet fuel. JP7 is rock stable for a jet fuel, and it does not like to burn unless it absolutely has to the point that it is well known for pilots putting out their cigarettes in it.
Well, if it doesn't catch on fire and burn down the whole house.
JP7 is described as being low volatility and high flash point, aka not very reactive with other chemicals and requiring a very high temperature to actually catch fire outright. As a
Damn.
side note, they did this by adding a chemical that Shell was using to make their line of bug spray at the time. So
What?
when that contract came out all the way back in 1955 to fuel the U-2, they had to divert those resources to JP7 production and caused a national shortage of bug spray, which is just par for the course for this plane to be using a jet fuel that worked over the entire US populace for a whole boiling summer. But the engine doesn't
Damn.
start hot, so in order to stop trolling the laws of thermodynamics and make the fuel catch fire for the engine start, they had to use a special additional chemical called triethylborane, or TEB, which
What?
only had to take one look at the air to start losing its chemical mind. This is what it looks
Oh.
like when they have to burn off the excess, and it literally looks like the engine runs on hellfire. It is not lost on me how much American energy is contained within that statement that you had to make an additional chemical to stop defying the rules. However, the plane wouldn't be able to have unlimited uses of that chemical romance, and in the end, they would only have 16 shots of it aboard, so the pilots had to drink responsibly and only use it when necessary. And in the
Okay.
meantime, that
Wait,
heat-absorbing...
Wait. Did I just miss something?
To stop defying the rules. However, the plane wouldn't be able to have unlimited uses of that chemical romance, and in the end, they would only have 16 shots of it aboard, so the pilots had to drink responsibly and only use it when necessary.
The pilots were drinking jet fuel? Did I get that right? Wait.
Hellfire. And it is not lost on me how much American energy is contained within that statement that you had to make an additional chemical to stop defying the rules. However, the plane wouldn't be able to have unlimited uses of that chemical romance, and in the end, they would only have 16 shots of it aboard, so the pilots had to drink responsibly and only use it when necessary. And in the...
Okay, that's for the jet engine. I think I got it, but... Oh god, if they were drinking jet fuel, that would be even more like... par for the course for the American Air Force.
Meantime, that heat-absorbing fuel would be used as coolant for the pilot and the electronics until it got hot enough to be burned, which helped that paint job in the cooling department. Said paint job also contained radar-reducing materials, and when combined with the radar-absorbent wedges and materials along the leading edges, the Blackbird's radar signature got tanked by 90% to where it would
What?
appear somewhere between the size of a bird and a person on radar. It's done, it's perfect, we now have the holy trifecta. It's flipping the script on physics, thermodynamics, and electromagnetics. And with that done, the first prototype aircraft would finally come to fruition as the A-12 Archangel.
Damn.
Yeah, no, the Blackbird wasn't the firstborn of this Mach 3 family. It was actually the third in line to the throne. The oldest
The
speedster
third?
sibling was the A-12 Archangel, a slightly smaller aircraft that first flew on April 26, 1962 out of Area 51, because of course it was out of Area 51, where
Of
else would you
course.
put that? Make its first sustained Mach 3 flight on July 20th, 1963 at an altitude of 78,000 feet, and top out at Mach 3.2 at 90,000 feet. The
Nice.
following month, the second sibling would make its first flight, the YF-12. The YF-12, as its designation might imply, was a two-seat interceptor version meant to have internal weapons bays.
Huh?
Because if you can make something fly fast enough to rip a hole in space-time, why not use it to despawn the portable suns in advance? You could probably spawn camp the runway at that speed. But the A-12 wasn't without its flaws. Not only did it have a lighter sensor payload, aka fewer recon options, and less fuel, aka shorter range, it was also only single seat, which meant the pilot was constantly certainly biting off more than he could chew. You gotta remember these guys are about to try tripling the sound barrier in the early 1960s. There was no AI or super advanced computing tech back then, meaning that any computer on board was pretty much there for one thing at a time, and some of the engine controls still had to be pilot operated. The A-12's flyboys were basically driving a manual transmission car as a plane with enough thrust to spite the divine laws. Nobody in their right mind is going to trust somebody to take high-res photos while driving an automatic transmission around town, and you want me to believe that it's somehow doable from an aerial stick shift traveling more than 10 times the speed of your average NASCAR racer in the stratosphere? Hell no. And you wonder why 6 of the 15 A-12s crashed.
What did you expect?
So Lockheed began working on the RS-71, not the SR-71, with more sensors, more fuel, and the Backseat Reconnaissance Systems Officer, or RISO, using the cockpit layout and scale of the YF-12, but the aerodynamics of the A-12. However, the RS-71 became public knowledge ahead of schedule. When President Lyndon B. Johnson was running for re-election in 1964 following his earlier-than-planned appointment, he was criticized by a rival during a debate on July 25th for not developing new platforms to counter the Soviet Union's advances. And since this is the same guy who had conversations with officials while naked in the bathtub to assert dominance, he naturally could...
Excuse me, what? He did what? Oh my goodness, wait.
For not developing new platforms to counter the Soviet Union's advances. And since this is the same guy who had conversations with officials while naked in the bathtub to assert dominance, he naturally...
What is called to talk about being a exhibitionist, yeah. Talk about being an exhibitionist. Holy mother of shit.
He couldn't have a challenge to his ego and decided to break cover and name drop the RS-71. And because he was so impulsive about it, he got the name wrong and called it the SR-71 instead, accidentally forcing Skunkworks to manually relabel about 25,000 pages of blueprints.
Oh no, the paperwork! We have to read.
Is there a video of it? Is there a video of this incident happening? I want to see it.
Do it.
And the funny thing was, the Blackbird wasn't even flying yet. The SR-71 wouldn't make its first flight until December 22nd, 1964, and it wouldn't make its first delivery until January of 1966. Then, at that moment of time, the order of heirs to the throne started getting reversed. The YF-12 program kind of crumbled after the first 3 prototypes because, as it turns out, yeeting a missile at the back of a moving interceptor gets a lot harder when you're moving fast enough that your teeth are lagging behind by countries at a time. The A-12s, however, did make it to full operational by 1965, but they wouldn't actually begin their overflights of the Soviet Union until 1967, thanks to the political stir caused by the U-2 shoot-down 7 years prior. By that point, Corona spy satellites were also being launched more regularly, which could take a lot more pictures a lot more often.
And also, I know that story. This thinker accidentally made a UFO conspiracy. I know this story.
Even if it delivered them slower and with a resolution that was like trying to pick out details through a mesh screen door. The Archangel would only ever fly 29 spy flights during a single 12-month operation codenamed Black Shield in support of the Vietnam War between May of 1967 and 68. And so in the end, President Johnson decided to save money and can the covert A-12 program, which had similar if not lesser capabilities to the overt SR-71 program alongside the YF-12 in 1968. The remaining 9 A-12s were hidden away until some of them reached museums in the mid-2000s, while the only surviving YF-12 was handed over to NASA in 1969 for supersonic cruising or supercruise testing. So in the end, the SR-71 pulled out the Uno reverse card, and the last version of the Blackbird family built became the only version left and officially kicked off its lifelong career of reminding people that if you want God to laugh, tell him your plans.
Feel free to pray to your God, but spoilers. I won't be listening.
And while it was slightly lower performing than its sister ships, the Blackbird was far from disappointing. When the US went on one of those record-setting sprees that it gets up to every once in a while in July of 1976, SR-71 set 2 world records, one for altitude at 85,069 feet, nice, and another for speed at 2,193 miles an hour. These records would remain unbroken until 2004, when NASA's X-43A experimental hypersonic plane came around. But that thing didn't have to carry people. Granted, the X-15 came out earlier than the SR-71 and went both faster and higher, so I'm guessing the reason that one didn't count was because it wasn't air-breathing, and because it wasn't really a plane so much as a rocket that somebody pointed horizontally and told to go fetch the horizon. And with the Blackbird's ability to basically ascend to new planes of reality at altitude, it needed massive control surfaces to work up there, like its full-length rudderators and its signature twin Pratt & Whitney J58 turbo ramjet engines. What the heck is a turbo ramjet? Glad you asked. It's a 2-stage engine with a turbojet shoved inside of a ramjet like a turducken. A ramjet is an engine that relies on the motion of supersonic airflow, which accelerates into wider spaces and decelerates into smaller ones to create thrust by slowing it down, lighting it, and then speeding it back up without using any moving parts. But
so it abuses the Ventura effect? God damn.
But if the air isn't already moving at warp 9, then the ramjets weren't gonna do jack, so the J58 turbojets would provide the 32,500 pounds of thrust the Blackbird needed to get started. And while that thrust output does sound like a lot, especially considering it wasn't exceeded until the F-22 Raptor came along, that would still only make up 17.6% of the total thrust needed to hold down those Mach 3 speeds.
She said we need more thrust.
That's how big of a deal the ramjet was, and it was the only way the Roadrunner and Coronet could cover 2/3 of a mile every second. That isn't Mach Jesus, you're hitting Mach God right there. And that speed could get away from you, especially if you got lost. Because that could happen. In the words of Frank Stamp, a former SR-71 backseater, you haven't been lost, so you've been lost at Mach 3. Because for every minute you don't know where you are, you're 35 miles away from where you think you're supposed to be. Which is kind of the minimum, because while it theoretically topped out at Mach 3.2-ish, some pilots claimed it had reached faster than Mach 3.5. And to this day, nobody really knows how fast the SR-71 can actually go. However, that speed was incredibly sensitive. See, the SR-71 also used movable shock cones to ensure the shock waves that came from tearing the sound wall in half were always at the position that benefited the plane the most. The pilot had to manage parts of this grandfather clock of a jet engine manually, and if they goofed it, the engine could basically vomit the shockwave and cause the engine to quit in what was called an unstart. These unstarts would give pilots fractions of a second to neutralize the effect if it was possible at all, and if they couldn't, the plane would pretty much evaporate around them as it fell to Earth.
Oh no. Oh fuck.
And I mean evaporate almost literally, because the Mach 3 speeds made this thing hot on the outside, like around 572 degrees Fahrenheit or 300 degrees Celsius.
Holy mother. Oh my god.
Is hot. And those friction generated
up to 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh, holy mother of shit.
Temperatures are probably the only reasons we'll never know exactly how fast the Blackbird can go, because it'll frickin' melt before it gets there. There's a good reason the CIA shell companies were pulling the titanium for this thing under the cover of pizza ovens, because with the temperatures the Blackbird could get up to, pilots would cook their in-flight meals and refreshments before eating them by holding a tube to the window to cook them. When the Blackbird landed, ground crews had to let the plane cool for 3 hours before they could touch it. And after the plane had been on enough flights, the constant heating and cooling of the airframe would prove the Blackbird is a grower, not a shower, and expand and contract the airframe, eventually warping and breaking the seals on the fuel tanks. These tanks were built directly into the wings, called wet wing tanks, instead of using liners, which saved weight. And because you could put cigarettes out in the gas, it wasn't exactly gonna go lighting things on fire, so the Air Force decided it was more cost-effective to just let the Blackbird leak fuel everywhere until the burners got it up to speed. Then the surface temperature would expand the airframe to seal the gaps. And all I'm saying is that I'm pretty sure if this were any other plane, they'd have had to see a doctor because the Blackbird's probably the only aircraft you'd find where it's normal to feel a burning sensation while you're leaking.
Look, shitbag, it takes a lot to keep me down.
But until it got up to speed, this thing had a fuel economy that would raise your gas prices from orbit. Hell, the fuel consumption would vary by temperature to the point that if the air was only 10 degrees above the standard temperature for its flight path, it would burn 36% of its total fuel capacity just accelerating to altitude. But if the air was colder, say like the air temperature over the Russian tundra, it would burn a little less gas and let it stick around longer. Can you imagine fighting an enemy who has a plane so specialized towards playing mind games with you that it's custom tailored to fit your fucking air temperature?
Why are you like this?
So it's a good thing this plane was almost...
My goodness.
60% fuel by weight at full tanks, which would last them for up to 3,355 miles or 5,200 kilometers.
That's a lot.
Which isn't actually all that long of a distance, and the reason it relied on mid-air refueling to both top off after takeoff and fly for as long as they had to. But with that mid-air refueling, it could record missions like its longest ever, the one in 1987 to observe the Iran-Iraq War from its base in Okinawa, Japan. That's roughly a quarter of the way around the entire planet. Easily the king of the floor is lava. I know I talk about defying physics a lot on this channel, but this plane rebels against nature as its daily bread. But the problem with being a career criminal is that getting caught breaking those laws is punishable by death. 12 of the 32 SR-71 Blackbirds would go down in pieces, although despite that 38% loss rate, only one crew member was ever killed, and that was on its first crash in late January of 1966, right after entering service.
When a day starts like this, it's all uphill from here.
Although the pilots that did survive will likely have issues of their own. Studies of U-2 pilots revealed that crews of high-altitude planes like the U-2 and SR-71 commonly develop white matter hyperintensities, which are alterations of the brain's gray matter and water content that can majorly increase the risks of stroke, dementia, and other cognitive impairments.
Oh god, they will be disabled as hell. Oh my god. Well, at least they had fun time in the Blackbird. So 50-50, I think it's a win and a lose at the same time.
And unlike the typical cases of development in the more grounded folks, instead of appearing in specific regions, these hyperintensities will appear throughout the brain. But I honestly doubt any of those pilots regret flying the Blackbird or would have chosen otherwise had they known the risks. Because the stories you can generate from flying a middle finger to everything it comes across are well worth their place in the legends of history.
Hell yeah.
And those stories across are well worth their place in the legends of history.
Let the smack talk comments, okay.
And those stories are numerous. For example, there was an F-4 Phantom crew in Vietnam that happened to catch a Blackbird's trace on radar on its way out of Chinese airspace. The Phantom turned into it to try and sneak a peek, but right when the Blackbird would have reached them, the radar flickered a few wrong ways and died, because the Blackbird's closure speed shorted a breaker. Radar works by bouncing radar waves off a target and gauging the changes in those returned waves to determine things like speed and direction of travel. Generally speaking, the more changed the waves are, the faster the target's speed is relative to yours. And usually the really high speeds mean they're closing on you from the front. It's like an eyeball with vision based on movement, and Shadow the Hedge plane over here was able to break it just by flashing its phallic shape so fast the radar had to shut off just to make sure it didn't see what it thought it saw. Then there were all the things that tried to catch it. One time a Blackbird had to fly through French airspace after a low oil pressure light came on, and after messing around in the cockpit, they looked up and saw a Mirage fighter jet flying off their wing. The Mirage asked the Blackbird for their diplomatic clearance code, which they didn't have. So the backseater threw him the bird while the pilot spiked the burners and left the Mirage standing still. MiG-25s and Soviet SAMs had also shot at it, which didn't really work because even if they locked the sneaky serving tray, it didn't matter, because all the pilots would do is turn left by a degree, maybe two, then throw the power the rest of the way forward, and the missile would stay that way by miles. I would love to know how many Soviet air defenders had their careers ruined just by this thing existing over their skies. In fact, the only air defenders that didn't have a problem with the Blackbird were the Swedes and their JA-37 Viggens.
Really?
These guys were the only planes to lock and or visually intercept the Blackbird regularly. And that was primarily because of the innovation of the Swedish pilots adapting to the Blackbird's routine flight paths, which the Blackbirds only allowed because they didn't consider the Swedes a threat, which they... weren't, because when an SR-71's right engine exploded during a Soviet spy flight and diverted through Sweden, a pair of Vigans found it and put themselves between the Blackbird and Soviet airspace to safely escort it back to West Germany before an interceptor could take a shot at it. Then there were a couple of intentional flexes, like the ground speed check story. Once upon a time, there was an SR-71 crew call signed Aspen 20 trying to get their mission-ready status with 100 hours of flight time.
I think I heard this story before.
And right after clearing the marker, they decided to kick back a bit and just listen to the radio chatter. There's a lot going on, most of the chatter's coming out of the Los Angeles Center traffic control tower in the area, and a Cessna calls in for a ground speed check and gets read out at about 90 knots. Then some Beechcraft plane decides to jump in on the guy and proudly ask for his ground speed check, knowing he'd beat out the Cessna, and gets his readout at 125 knots. Without giving him a moment to savor his easy win, an FA-18 Hornet pilot then jumps in and asks the tower for his readout. Also obviously trying to show off to the rest of the locker room. Ground speed reads him out at 620 knots. Now it's just perfect. The Blackbird pilot has to show these guys there's always a bigger fish in the sea and remind these guys who their god is. But the backseater controls the radios, and as the pilot's going through his head on whether or not he wants to steal radio control just to ask, his backseater opens the mic and asks the center for their ground speed check. And with zero hesitation, like they had been silently waiting for the Blackbird crew to ask the entire time, begging for them to have this moment, they responded, Aspen 20, I show you at 1,842 knots across the ground. And then the backseater, cool as ice, responds to the tower in his, quote, most fighter pilot voice, center, much thanks. We're showing closer to 1,900 on the money. To which the tower, clearly trying not to crack up at this point, responds, Roger that, Aspen. Your equipment is probably more accurate than ours. You boys have a good one. This is the aerial equivalent of taking one look at the sword fighting contest, slamming theirs on the table, and asking if anyone wants seconds. I understand the Navy has a reputation for what happens on the ships, but who knew the Air Force was into that too? Granted, ATC...
Oh my god. Oh my god.
He wasn't always aware of what the Habus were doing, and it was absolutely funnier when they didn't. An SR-71 once entered controlled airspace and asked the tower for permission to go to 60,000 feet. The tower, not realizing it was an SR-71, sarcastically responded to the crew with, sure, if you can reach it, to which the SR-71 says, Roger, descending. I would have paid to be a fly on the wall to see the look on that controller's face as he stared at his comm line. But you didn't have to be an ATC controller to get one-up mushroomed by this thing, because even everyday people could get the smoke if they asked for it. In 1981, after President Reagan made the decision...
Oh wait, I think I heard this story too. I think it was like a protest or boycott or something, right?
To station intermediate-range nuclear cruise missiles in England, up to 30,000 people marched to RAF Greenham in Berkshire and set up camp, eventually making a bunch of demonstrations between 1981 and 1983 to protest for nuclear disarmament, which is honestly awesome. I mean, I'm an American. We have constitutional protections for peaceful protest for a reason. And on top of that, I'm 100% in favor of nuclear disarmament, because it means a bunch of countries who keep waving that stick around to escape their consequences can finally get their ass beat.
About time.
That's right.
Come on, let's go.
But the key word there is peaceful, and there really has to be a line in the sand somewhere that can spell out the difference between a peaceful protest and breaking the law. Maybe using what happened a few times here as examples. Several of the demonstrations saw blockades put up around the base's access points and chunks of fence being cut down around said base. The latter of which is a felony, mind you. But arguably one of the worst ideas this group of people had was to break into...
Oh, right. They messed up the paint, right?
The security cordon around a bunch of aircraft that had been laid out for the International Air Tattoo Air Show in 1983 and throw paint on a bunch of them. One of which was an SR-71.
Yeah.
Now, the Blackbird is a sensitive plane, and not just because of the classified recon systems. She's a high-maintenance girl with a lot of special needs. And between the stealth paint and the titanium, cleaning her up without damaging the aircraft probably cost the U.S. taxpayers more money than it cost the protesters to fund their entire event. And without a doubt, took several days. Plus, they just straight-up touched America's Blackbirds. Not quite the same scale of reaction as touching America's boats, but definitely just as much fury from the pilots. So after the cleanup was finished, the crew took off early one morning and got clearance from the tower for a downwind pass. They then dropped to 50 feet of altitude at 250 knots and directed their flight path right at the protesters' camp. The pilot then lit the afterburners, accelerated to between 350 and 400 knots, and pulled up right as they went overhead, blasting the camp with the jet wash at full tilt. And since it wasn't going Mach 3, probably leaked a bit of jet fuel all over the place on the way.
Oh god.
Another Blackbird crew also trying to get their flight hours in flew from Sacramento, California to Washington to Idaho to New Mexico and back to Sacramento in 2.5 hours. Think about how ridiculous that is for a second. These guys were specifically trying to wind down the clock, and they still had to draw a flight path that looks like a child's coloring book just to get enough time on the books. And even then, they still made landings in 4 states in less time than it takes a commercial flight to get from Massachusetts to Florida non-stop. Even at the end of its lifespan, it was still throwing middle fingers, because on March 6, 1990, Blackbird number 1972 made its last flight to its final resting place in the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum, at which point it broke the coast-to-coast speed record by flying from Los Angeles to Washington, D.C. in 64 minutes 20 seconds, averaging 2,124 miles or 3,418 metric knot miles an hour. This plane has the exact same energy as that one Japanese racing horse called Gold Ship. Yes, the same one from that gambling horse game that gives you a concussion whenever she wins a race. And no, I'm not talking about the anime character, I mean the actual horse. Not only was Gold Ship a constant smartass throughout his entire career, when he finally retired and was brought to his retirement pen, he ran faster around that pen than he ever did on the track, as if to signal that he was never taking his career seriously the entire time. And with a record like that being set on its last flight ever, I'm convinced that either the Blackbird is the spirit of Gold Ship as a plane, or Gold Ship is the spirit of a Blackbird as a horse. It's probably the second one because of how the timelines shake out, but I can't figure out which one's funnier, so I'll leave that up to you.
I don't care. It's convenient to my narrative.
Yeah,
Right,
true.
dog is still funny. Shut up.
Yeah. That's at the
But
end.
like I said, that was its last flight, because on January 26, 1990, the plane made from the blood of its enemies barely missed outliving them. The SR-71 Blackbird fleet was finally retired due to its cost in the wake of shrinking defense budgets and the increased prevalence of spy satellites. At least that's what most people believe. Because you might have noticed those are the exact same reasons the SR-71 replaced the A-12, and it felt a little weird to me when I was reading up on this that the Air Force would have fallen for the same trick twice. Not to mention, while the Soviet Union was mid-collapse, if anything, that meant high-speed and quick turnaround reconnaissance was even more important, because you're trying to keep tabs on a collapsing enemy superpower that possessed nuclear weapons. The last thing you can afford to have is some wannabe warlord sneaking off with a nuke in their possession and using it against you later. So why would they retire the Blackbird before the dust had settled instead of after?
Good
and
question.
the answer is because apparently not even the spotless record superstar SR-71 can outrun the absolute corporation that is the US Air Force.
Of course. Everybody was hoping for a happy ending. Yeah, that's right. Fraps. Somebody made it record in Fraps. You serious? That thing is ancient.
According to Kelly Johnson's autobiography, in the years before the SR-71's retirement, the Air Force Chief of Staff and previous head of Strategic Air Command, General Larry Welsh, sired a campaign to divert the SR-71's refurbishment funding to the B-2 Spirit program, citing the development of advanced spy satellites to call it a disposable luxury. He and other SAC generals also claimed that it was too expensive, saying they could fly 15 to 20 F-15E Strike Eagles for the same cost per flight hour of one SR-71. And that it cost $400 million annually to keep the planes up and running, which was quite the pair of bold-faced lies, because in reality, the SR-71 cost almost half that annual price tag at $260 million a year. And compared to the F-15E's maintenance cost of roughly $26,500 a flight hour, the Blackbird cost about $85,000 per hour in 1990 or $210,000 an hour today. That's not even 10 times the price of an F-15E in today's money, let alone back then when the Strike Eagle was brand new and probably still teething out a few of its own issues. And you can tell just by listening to this guy's own words that he wasn't thinking with the right head when he made that call. Because his take on the SR-71 was, quote, "The Blackbird can't fire a gun and doesn't carry a bomb, and I don't want it."
You serious? It's a fucking spy plane. My god, it's supposed to just look at shit, say, yeah, that bitch is here, that bitch is there. Oh, and who is that bitch? Oh, that's you, that's right. Like, seriously, man, what are we talking about?
Do you understand how stupid that is? That sentence alone basically takes a look at the entirety of tactical recon and says, I'm surprised the Air Force was still letting people like this make it that far in their careers after Vietnam, because that guy could probably freeze nitrogen with his IQ alone. Can multi-role aircraft carry out recon missions? Yeah, probably, but that means diverting assets that you need to demolish the enemy forces instead of using dedicated assets to just watch the whole thing burn from above. Also, what happens if somebody, I don't know, jams your satellites with electronic warfare? All that floating space metal is going to be real helpful to you then, huh? But if you had a high-speed plane like the Blackbird cooperating with the internet, or at the very least a data link, you could beam high-res photos into the grunt's hands on the go instead of having to wait for your satellites to come all the way back around the planet into the oh-so-perfect position in orbit over your head so you can actually collect all that information you needed hours ago. Which did not help when, ironically, Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait that same year. Also, ironically, after winning the bank-breaking war the SR-71 had flown its longest flight ever to spy on, and the US went in for a ground war that was over in 100 freaking hours. General Schwarzkopf himself and other ground and naval commanders were not quiet with their disappointment in the Air Force for, yet again, just like Vietnam, forgetting that they can't win a war with just bombs.
Get the out of my sight before I demolish you.
As a result of these worsening political conditions in the Middle East and building tensions with North Korea, the Blackbird program was reactivated in 1933 with 3 aircraft returned to service by Lockheed. But the Air Force dragged their feet on the entire process, and in the end, he who did not have relations with that woman used his line item veto powers to delete the funding for any future service in October of 1997.
Oh, come on, man. At least 5 more years. You could have given it at least 5 more years, or make an upgraded version of that, a cheaper version. You had the technologies at the time. You could have done something. My God.
After adult Voldemort's decision, the Air Force permanently retired the SR-71 in 1998, leaving NASA with the 2 last airworthy Blackbirds until 1999. But the SR-71 still looks like it'll have the last laugh, as the need for immediate aerial recon photography in potentially satellite-denied environments has not remained unobserved. Not only has Lockheed been working on what is widely expected to be the Blackbird's successor, the SR-72, but the B-2 Spirit's replacement, the B-21 Raider, is also explicitly made to be able to carry an intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, or ISR, sensor payload. The bombers aren't replacing the Blackbird, now they're doing its job. It's one last Uno reverse card from beyond the grave of the troll to rule them all. Thank you for watching. We got merch and other links in the description, and if you like what you saw, please consider checking out some of my other videos. You might like what you find. Until next time, dismissed.
Thank you, Slyrax. I loved it. I loved every second of that. But first, goddamn, this Blackbird was fucked in the end. But at least the potential for SR-72 is very high. I love it. The SR-71 was responsible for so many UFO sightings, it's crazy, lol. Yeah, it surely did. Because that guy could freeze nitrogen with his IQ alone. Damn, that's one hell of a skating remark. I always heard the room temperature IQ amongst others, but that one might just take the kick. Fully right. Yeah, that was wonderful. I loved it, every second of it. And with that, we are ending this stream for today. My God, it took a little more than it was supposed to. But it's okay. It's all good. It's all nice. I should have not watched the FNAF video, to be honest. It was, oh my God, it was such a nightmare. Whatever. Thank you everyone for being with me here today, for listening to me being an idiot, or being silent, or just being absolutely terrified. I hope to see everybody tomorrow playing... I don't know what I will play tomorrow, to be honest, because not Helldivers 2, not Lords of the Fallen. What will I play tomorrow? Like, really? Oh, I will play Risk of Rain 2 tomorrow. Yeah. I will stretch up my legs and experience in this game. Anywho. Thank you everyone once again. Hope to see you lads tomorrow. Bye bye! Where is my off button?